Kim. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
Hey,
What's the
thank you very
weather
much.
What's the weather like over by you, Kim?
This has been a cool June for Ohio. Had to wear a sweater this morning.
Yeah, it's really chilly here this morning as well. And the whole start of the summer, with here in Colorado, it really is spring, but we'll get snow sometimes up in the mountains. We've been getting rain every single day. There's been flooding. It's been really nasty. You're familiar with that kind of weather in Nebraska, right, Eric? I mean, I know you're not in Nebraska now, but you're originally from there.
Yeah, you're right. It's beautiful here, 80s, 90s. We haven't had 100 week yet, so. But I'm a little bit north, so I'm about 8 degrees cooler than the city. So
Yeah.
Well, Izzy, you're asking how I felt, and I immediately went to, well, what's going on in terms of investment and in terms of business? And
Yeah, that too. How do you feel about that? The climate is really changing. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
I feel like as we started the year, things kind of cooled off. People were looking at the rate hikes and stuff, and things were like pulling back. And then all of a sudden, just even maybe it was the fact that they put a delay on the raise this week or something climate change. Like it's like, okay, we pulled back. Now we're interested in looking again. Right?
Yeah, I feel like you're looking at my notes. I was going to cover that. Over the last few weeks, I've been getting emails like, okay, Q1's done, summer's over, back from the Hamptons. What do you got? We're picking our spots, that type of thing. So I'm really excited about that. You should have gotten some kind of notification that we're live. Okay, I see it. It's up and running on the live stream. All right, good. All right, well, let's get going here. And super stoked about some of the people that told me that they're going to be stopping in and watching you guys pitch and getting together on opportunities. So I've had several calls with some of you guys, with some investors. So like you said, Duncan, it's just really exciting. Things are finally turning around, and that's great. In fact, Kimberly, I was just talking the other day with Safraz, and he's really excited about your company. So let's see what happens. But in any event, let's go ahead and kick things off with a little housekeeping. We know, I mean, this group right here, others are going to be logging in just a little bit, but you guys know this is a place for foul language, drinking, smoking on camera, that type of thing. I shouldn't even have to say that, but I've said it for years just to make sure everybody knows that. And just remember your audience, right? You're going to have investors that are popping into the live stream, maybe right into the Zoom room. I'm going to be broadcasting that on LinkedIn as well, or putting the link on there. So, just remember that you're going to have all mixes. So watch what you're saying about your companies, because we don't know who's out there that is not under NDA or anything like that. So keep that all in mind. But before we get started, we always start off with a prayer and a pledge. So I just want to bless this time. If you have the ears to hear, just agree with me in prayer. Heavenly Father, I'm so thankful and grateful for these people, for this amazing country that we get to live in, Lord God. And Lord, I just even remember Memorial Day passing by, and just thankful for the people that went ahead of us, Lord, and that we have this opportunity for free enterprise. Bless these speakers, Lord God, have your way in their lives and use it for your glory. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. I also like to do a pledge of allegiance. Why? Because I think this country is amazing, and I love free enterprise. I'm very overt about that. And I'm just going to go ahead and put up a flag here, and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody good with that?
okay.
Yep.
All right, here we go. I'm not going to play the music that's on here. I was looking for a cool flag yesterday, and I'm gonna have it waving instead of playing music. All right, here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag,
States of
United
America,
States of America,
to the republic
the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible.
With
with
liberty,
liberty,
and
justice
justice,
for all.
All right. Well, folks, I'm excited about Lennox's presentation here. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you, Lennox. I think some of the things you've been doing on a shoestring budget is absolutely remarkable. And you've gotten the company to a place now where there's going to be significant interest over the coming months and even years in what you have there with the mine that you've got built. But before we get going with Lennox, just tell us a little bit about your background, what you've done before in the past. I think that's some of the exciting things that investors like to hear, that it's not some newbie that's running a mine.
No, sure. Look, I was born in Mexico. I'm a Canadian Mexican citizen. I've been living in Canada for about 30 years. And I got involved first as an investment banker with a company in Florida, a boutique investment banker. I became the president of operations for Canada and then for Mexico. And doing that, we did several transactions, both private and public. But also I was approached to acquire La Negra mine from Peñoles, which is the largest silver producer in the world in Mexico. So I was involved in financing the $6 million acquisition of this mine. And then we did it through a shell called Arcana Corporation. And through that shell, we raised the $6 million initially, then another $14 million to put into operation. And that shell was trading at a market cap of $500,000. Well, within 1 year, the company was worth $100 million. And in the next 4 years, it reached a market cap of $600 million and one of the 400 largest companies in Canada. Our current opportunity, Apache Copper, although Arcana is a very exciting opportunity, it's much better. We have much better projects, as well as a disruptive process for copper. So I would like
that's
to
what's over here, right? This is the interesting thing about this, what you call a vegetation anomaly, where I'm just circling that on my mouse. So in that area there is where the mine is, correct?
This is for one of the concessions with a child, and what indicates is no vegetation grows there due to the high mineralization of that project. We have estimated a potential of over 100 million tons just in this concession, which is drill ready. But although it's very exciting, very important concession, we are concentrating in our La Purísima mine, which is polymetallic in Querétaro State. And I have to state all of three projects are suburban. Now, for instance, this Huizachal is crossed by a four-lane highway. And in developing a mine, usually the most expensive thing is the infrastructure. You have to bring the roads, the people, the power, etc. In our case, we are within 20 kilometers of the state capital of Tamaulipas, Ciudad Victoria, etc. So that's our case. One thing now that we are not presenting, can I share my own screen instead of yours?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Let me share my screen. It's important. Well, okay, wait. I'm glad we're doing this before. Okay, I don't know. I have it open, but I
If you click on the green button on the bottom where it says share screen.
Sure, but I cannot see. Okay, files. Let me see. I cannot see your presentation.
I'm sure it's not you, it's Zoom. Start it again. That's happened to me before. Stop sharing and then start it again.
Okay. Now I'm out. Save. So let me try to share the screen before we start. Share screen. There.
It's not sharing on our side.
It's giving me this sign-in stuff.
You want me to jump to a specific slide?
Well, I made a few changes. this is the one that I want to work with. And it's the right master.
Let me see if I can do anything on my side. Because if you go on top, instead of going to files, just go to basic. When you click on share file,
Mhm.
click on basic up top.
Basic, okay.
Now you should see what any of this windows there, what you're looking to share.
But I don't see mine. That's a problem.
So click on share screen again, click on desktop that the screen is on. And you can see the file there in basic, and then choose one of those desktops.
Okay.
There we go.
I closed it, but let me open it. I'm going to save it.
That's fine.
Okay, and view. Hi, can you see this? Do it like so.
Yeah, if you click on home first, click on home
Home. Where is home?
right there.
Okay, yeah.
Right to the left, click home.
Mhm.
Okay, now go to slideshow.
I can you see the slide?
Well, go to the right. You see where it says slideshow? Up top. You passed it there. Go to the right just a little bit right there. Go to the right. You go to the right on that line above that where it says slideshow. Keep going to the right.
Slideshow.
Right there. Click there. Click on slideshow.
On slideshow. Okay.
Click on slideshow. Now play from start.
View. Okay, that's the one I need.
There you go.
Okay, good. So I guess you can see really the Wizard Child concession with vegetation anomaly. This is 400 hectares that we own 100%. That's the other thing about Apache. We own substantial assets. We own this Apache, this Wizard Child concession with copper silver. Then we own La Purísima, which is a polymetallic mine, which is quite advanced with a 220-meter ramp already. We have an open breach gold silver deposit that we will start exploring next year. And we are also a major investor in Apache Ava Minerals in Papua New Guinea, where I am also the chairman of that company. But that's another story. We want to concentrate on developing La Purísima mine because we can do this very fast. I mean, traditionally, to develop a mine on a conventional way of doing it can take you 10 years to develop a mine, and now 3 to 5 to start producing cash. We're doing this in 15 months at smaller scale, but that will allow us to be financially independent and to slowly develop our mines and also access larger financings to do this. And that's important because today, these junior mining companies raise money from the public on an ongoing basis. And what happens is that the investors get diluted over and over and over again. So even if the market cap of the company increases 10 times or 15 times, your investment might have been diluted so much that you may have not profits on your side. So it is very important that we do not allow that to happen with us, and that's why we have this strategy. You want me to carry on?
Yeah. I want you to go on to the next slide. Sorry, I thought you were controlling the slide now.
I'll give you a little bit of my background. Now, you always hear about the problems of mining, but you seldom hear about the opportunities of mining. And yes, there are problems. There are price fluctuations. The metal prices move every day up and down like the stock market. which can be bad or it can be very good. And in your case, I think it's good because we are in the best outlook for metals ever, due to the electrification of the world. Going out of hydrocarbons and going into electrification is going to require lots of base metals, starting with copper, but also nickel, vanadium, lead, whatever. Okay. You also hear about socioeconomic issues, and that's an important problem because you need to have good relationship with the locals where you are mining, and we do have very good relationships. We have not only the mineral rights, underground rights, but we have also negotiated the access rights with all the communities where we operate, and we are in very good terms with them.
And we spoke about some of the incompetence that could be in some of these mines where it takes so long to produce. And you've got an amazing team. We have that on the other slides, but we got to keep moving because we're running out of time here. So why don't you talk about literally the business model is on the next slide. Can you go to that slide there, number 3?
Number 3, sure.
So you have a sample of that right there on your shelf, I believe, is where you keep it. So go ahead and just show that little piece there that you have.
Sure. We developed this process for copper oxides, and conventionally today, and on an electrowinning plant, your main cost component is electric power.
Can you show on your shelf there that piece of the raw copper oxide that you have?
Sure. This is the copper oxides called malachite from our Wisachal concession, where I just showed you with that nothing grows in there.
So
Okay,
here's what's important for everyone to understand. This right here is worth a couple of $100 a ton, under $300 a ton.
$122 a ton, contains 1.5% copper per ton and 2 ounces of silver. Okay, we process this in a very simple process without electric power at a cost of about $32 per ton, and we produce high purity metallic copper. You can see it here. Okay,
Yeah, bring that into the camera more. I can barely see it.
in the form of chips. This per ton today is $8,500 a ton.
Lift that up a little higher, Lenny. You can't see it. Lift it. There you go. There you go. So folks, once that raw copper oxide is processed, it turns into this. So going from a couple $300 a ton to $8,000 a ton. And that's the business. So when an investor looks at this to invest in a mine, instead of thinking, oh, is there going to be any type of minerals coming out of there, oil, gas, whatever, we know that this is there. We're all already pulling huge chunks of that out of there. There's a huge demand for it. Why don't you jump to talking a little bit about the size of the market, Lenny, because I think it's incredibly exciting.
Well, yesterday I went ahead and find out the value of the industry today, of the mining industry, which is the mining industry we are in, and today is $2 trillion. It's growing about 5-6% per year, which is substantial on $2 trillion of investment. So it's very substantial. There are no problems on selling the metals. All of them are sold. Okay, so no mining company has a marketing department. The metal traders like Glencore, Trafigura, and some other ones will buy you the metals ahead of time even, because they need to guarantee the supply to the big smelters. So, for instance, I have already spoken to Trafigura and told them that we have this process, which they have looked at. He said, well, it's good, Lenny, nobody's doing what you're doing. And then they went to visit one of our properties, which is La Purísima, and said, well, you're in a region of giants. And I told them, well, we may need $5 to $7 million to set up a small plant, a 300-ton per day plant. And once we finalize our exploration program, our drilling program, we will have enough information to go and talk to Trafigura about this additional financing. So there are several ways of financing a mine. Okay, not all of them are very well known, but I really like the structure of an SPV that we can use over and over again. So that's why I'm very interested in working with you, Easy, and with your investors. Hopefully they will see our value proposition.
Well, clearly what it takes, and you know what, I call you, we were laughing the other day about it because you were very humble and saying, no, I don't want you to compare me to that. But here's what I look at. You're like the Tesla of the mining industry. Why? Because you're using these electric powered machinery. You're not throwing plumes of diesel up in the air. There's a sensitivity to the environment. You're connecting with the community. That's right there. There's some amazing things that I know you had a little bit of a technical difficulty and you haven't been able to present all that. But as we speak to investors, letting them know and heightening that visibility, that bringing that raw copper oxide from a couple $300 a ton to $8,000 a ton, and the demand in the trillions worldwide, this is an amazing investment. I'm super proud to be representing it, and I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to get capitalized. So, Lenny, any final thoughts that you would want investors to know right away about the opportunity?
Well, as I was saying, the outlook for metals has never been better. So the fluctuations in the market are going to be upside. This slide you saw, the copper was at $6,000 a ton. Today, few months, 18 months later, it's at $8,500 a ton. And that doesn't count the silver that we took out first. So in my opinion, it's a very good opportunity. Arcana went from $500,000 in market cap to 600 million in 4 years. That's 1,200 times increase. So investors did very well. And I think that Apache Copper is much better.
Well, congratulations to what you're doing, because I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to become in the mining industry a household name. I'm super excited to be a part of this project, and you found something there that's going to produce quite a bit of return for investors. I mean, how many X's is that from a couple $300 a ton to 8,000? I mean, you're talking like a 50X return. So I'm super stoked about that. Great job.
Not only that, once you save all the electric power, the mining companies can convert those savings into carbon credits, and they can get a tax advantage too. So we have to structure that properly. We need to have we'll have to have someone that will go on promote our technology, being able to do it right now.
Yeah, that's what we talked about, right? In the SPV, where you've got those investors in there, and then the tax advantage with those tax credits. Amazing opportunity. The proposition is remarkable. Great job, Lenny. We got to jump on to our next presenter here, but give him a round of applause. That was a great job. Even with the technical difficulties, we grinded right through it. Thanks so much for that, Lenny. I'm going to spotlight you, Kim Langdon. You ready to roll?
Yep. Let me
right.
see here.
Go ahead and pull up your slide deck. While you're doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and this amazing lady that is about to present. I mean, Kim, when I first met you, right away we clicked. We had the same mindset. And what you're doing here is simple, right? Yeah, and you were just bewildered as why hasn't this been done before in the future? You've got some amazing people on your team that are going to be bringing this to market. I certainly don't want to steal your thunder, but I think this is something that is going to be on the shelves of all the drugstores, and obviously with women in my household, a tremendous need for that as well. So thank you so much for what you're doing with your company, Kim. And would you guys help me welcome Dr. Kim Langdon? Give her a round of applause.
Thank you. Yes, well, I'm Dr. Kim Langdon, an OBGYN, university trained OBGYN who has retired from practice after 19 years. Here to discuss my company, Coologics, which is offering patented, drug-free, faster, and more effective treatment for vaginal infections. Why won't it?
Slide not moving.
Nope.
Yeah, Zoom is just throwing us a curveball this morning. It did the same thing for Lenny. Let's see if we can get this figured out. Okay, so I would, if I were you, stop presenting. This has happened to me before.
Okay.
Now
Maybe I
try.
should just not do the full screen or something. Okay.
Try that again one more time.
Let me just leave it on this screen.
Okay, there you go.
Well,
No problem.
it's not, I don't know. Well, anyway, I'll try to go to the okay, so here's the second slide. Okay, so yeast infections are pure hell. They're actually very terrible. Women don't mess around with this. Yeast infections are caused by a fungus that lives harmlessly all over our bodies, but when it's triggered, it morphs into an infection that basically is due to the change in the environment, such as pH or heat can trigger one of these infections. And they're unfortunately, let's see, a big problem. I am having trouble here. Okay. It's like I erased something.
Kim, if you have anything else open that's drawing any kind
No.
of RAM capacity, okay.
Let's go to this. Okay, so it's a big problem. 75% of women have one or more in their lifetime, 34% 4 or more a year, and 80% of women who use the over-the-counter creams rate them as 2 to 3 out of 10. They say, do not buy this product. It's terrible. So we'll go on to the next slide. So the current vaginal infection treatments are not effective. They do not stop symptoms for days. They worsen the symptoms in the case of creams. And the 2 types of infections that our device treats are linked to preterm births, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Trying to scroll down, but there we go. This must be our next one. So what is the solution? Vliss is the name of the device. We're a non-drug treatment for yeast and bacterial infections. We have patented controlled cooling technology, offering faster, more effective treatment, approaching 100%, offering immediate symptom relief. It's also, and as of course, it's drug-free and chemical-free. So it's easy to use. This is an intuitive product. It's safer and easier to use than a tampon or menstrual cup. It's even easier to use than the applicators for the over-the-counter creams. Just put it in the freezer for about an hour, then you insert it for 30 minutes, remove it, discard it, and repeat again within 24 hours. So how does it work? Well, we've proven the first 2 mechanisms of action. We actually cure the infection via forcing the hyphae, which are the little roots that cause the infection, back to the dormant bud state. And in some cases, we're actually killing the fungus. And in 4 cases, we've shown that we've cured or killed the bacteria, the harmful bacteria. So why not just take a pill? Well, the problem with the pills, it's not very effective anymore. Fluconazole used to be 95% effective. It also has side effects. It has risk associated with drug-drug interactions. This low effectiveness is not going to get better. And also it doesn't do anything for symptoms for days. So when you compare Coologics to all the products on the market, you can see we tick off almost all the features that a woman or a doctor would prefer. So, basically, what's the proof? Well, we have the scientific proof. I've written a white paper describing that, well footnoted. We have animal studies to show support of our efficacy and our mechanism of action, which is very interesting because the PhDs who did these studies also studied the current drugs on the market. And the drugs on the market did not work in the mouse because of the pH, whereas our device did. We also have 2 small clinical studies for a total of 11 women who were clinically studied, all cured of their yeast infections and bacterial vaginosis, and 19 additional women were cured outside of the clinical trial. Let's see if we can go over here. Okay, let's go here. So the market opportunity, when you combine all 3, the preterm birth prevention, yeast infections, and bacterial vaginosis, the TAM is 30 billion. If you just look at the yeast and bacterial vaginosis, we're looking at a SAM of 4 billion. And then just to treat the yeast infection, we're looking at a 1.3 billion for the over-the-counter and the prescription market. We will be focusing on the prescription market by educating the OBGYNs, targeting clinical practices, KOLs. We'll be offering Vliss, would be the saleable product, 2 units per package. And the best opportunity I think this has is for recurrent sufferers because there's no real good treatments for that besides the ones I already mentioned, don't work very well in recurrent sufferers. And so there's now a drug that costs $2,800 that we current sufferers can use. So we see an incredible opportunity to take care of the recurrent sufferers. And then obviously we anticipate that we'll go over the counter for those who are episodic sufferers. Here's our, we talked to the FDA based on their feedback. We're a class 2 low risk device. We are a de novo pathway, and they have referred us for breakthrough designation, which basically means we get, first dibs on talking to the FDA. We go to the top of the line after our application is submitted. And we expect within, 12 to 14 months, we'll be ready and FDA approved and ready to commercialize the yeast infection market first as a prescription, then over the counter, then adding BV, and then the preterm birth prevention trial will have to be done. So the big way this is going to work, first of all, there's already drug reps and pharma reps that call on OBGYN, so it's a well-established pathway. And once we establish the data and get that published, all we need to do is show that to doctors, and most doctors are saying things like, we think this will be the standard of care. Here's some proxies indicating exits after FDA approval or with a launch. Even Kimberly-Clark bought Contipi for $205 million. That was a urinary incontinence device. There was an obstetric hemorrhage device also bought by Merck Organon. So there's a substantial opportunity to sell after FDA approval and let the people who already have the infrastructure build out the commercialization process. So we are asking $3 million as a convertible note, and that's primarily to achieve FDA clearance, which will require a clinical trial. And here's our team. Besides my chief medical officer, I've just teamed up with Project MedTech out of Cleveland, Ohio. They basically will offer up all the executive leadership as far as finance, regulatory, manufacturing, product launch services, and marketing. So they're very excited to be on board. I'm very excited to finally have a team that can execute. That's what I've been looking for a while. And as far as our KOLs, we have great support. Mark Landon's the chairman of OBGYN at Ohio State University. He says this is a game changer. The doctors, the PhDs who did the mouse studies also support this as highly efficacious. And the infectious disease director of Ohio State also, when I presented to him and his students, said he was fascinated by this discovery. And Dr. Nicole Williams, I sent devices to, she's passed them out to her patients. And she says this product is poised to save millions of lives or to help millions of lives. And she thinks it's just incredible. So with that, I'll happy to entertain any questions.
And what I think it's going to save as well, Kim, is millions of dollars. Oh, let me start my video here.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars.
One visit to an ER after a failed over-the-counter cream, which is almost more than half the time they fail, that costs about $1,000. So, employers, payers don't want to pay that. They'd surely see this as a welcome addition because there's no risk and it treats symptoms immediately.
Well, some of the things to think about that we've chatted at length is, let's take a woman maybe on the battlefield, right? Let's take a woman in the workplace, maybe an attorney, a social worker, whomever. Think of all the hours that are lost. If you're listening into this and you can pick up on what I'm saying here, is this can save so much more money than the drugs do, because the drugs, they're not working well. The creams just ooze out of the body and the efficacy is very low. What you've done here with this, Kim, is very simple, yet it's incredibly effective. So if someone can have this, let's go to the battlefield example. We know some of the things that trigger a yeast when you're out in these hot environments and they're wearing all this gear and everything. Now they can't go out into the battlefield because of a yeast infection. They can have this right at the barracks and make sure that they can give them out to the women soldiers that are on the battlefield. It's just remarkable what this product can do very simply. and how safe it is. You know, I've got a little princess that's going to be turning 9. You've seen her on camera before. I've introduced you to her. And we talked about this one other time, how I didn't know a girl back then, probably 7 years old, could get a yeast infection. And what ended up happening was it was from taking an antibiotic because she was sick. Now, I'm not saying that this device is appropriate for her, but what I'm saying is I don't think people understand how many women have to deal with a yeast for maybe getting a Z-Pack, and then all of a sudden, you know, now they've got a yeast infection. So they were dealing with a cold, now they got a yeast, and it just begins to capitulate in their life. But with this product, it's amazing how that can render that. Can you just touch on that a little bit before we wrap up and go to our next speaker?
Well, I just ran one over to my daughter the other day, and I said, just let me know how many times you used it. So I ran it over. She says, Mom, I used it twice. Once at night, once the next day, it's gone. Okay. One of the recurrent sufferers wrote me an email, and she says, you know, she takes antibiotics all the time for urinary tract infection. So every time she gets a yeast infection, and I sent her one, I said, she goes, every time I need it, I use it. It works like magic every time. So yeah, I mean, it's drug-free, it's faster, more effective, and it eliminates symptoms. And, you know, its potential role in preterm birth prevention, you know, I didn't go into, but that's the ultimate goal there, because yeast infections and bacterial infections are associated with preterm births. And if we treat those in pregnancy, we can lower the preterm birth rate by up to 66%.
That in it of itself is worthy of any investor worth their salt, saying, you know what, I want to help with preterm births. That is, the connection there is absolutely incredible, and that you can save lives, right, with this. So great job with that, Kim. And I've got a couple more minutes here, so before you go, I want you to just talk about the potential of an exit, right? We don't know what it's going to be, but you're in this space, pounding the pavement, talking to lots of different people. Congratulations for everything that you've been able to accomplish. My question is, you know, with some of the names that were up there, the J&Js of the world, who do you think would step in that is in this space already, that maybe, you know, like a Monistat is sort of like the one off top of mind, and maybe for others that would, I forget the drug company that owns Monistat.
It's Prestige.
It's Prestige. Okay.
Yeah. So originally
Yeah.
I wanted to launch this over the counter first, but after our discussions with the FDA, they encouraged us to start prescription, then go over the counter. So now I'm more focused on companies like Merck, Organon, J&J, another company called Labori. Like Organon is all women's health. They do drugs, they do devices. J&J, of course, does drugs and devices. They also do consumer healthcare. So anyone that could sort of bridge, you know, the prescription therapeutics that involve either device, you know, if they do therapeutics, they still might do devices, but more likely it would be a device company. And I've already talked to some of the big players, and that one was just yesterday. And so they're going to follow up with me in a week. So my goal is to exit after FDA approval. I mean, if we don't, then we'll raise more money and launch. But I think there's already good companies out there that can get this into the market faster.
Yeah, and there's obviously a lot of money behind that as well, right? You don't have to do that. You can just with a group of investors.
Well, like Organon just purchased a phase 2 drug, so that means it's not FDA approved. The total consideration for that phase 2 drug in a smaller market than what we are in was $950 million. All right.
Wow.
So we're actually targeting the top 3 markets in OBGYN. Vaginitis is the most common reason women see her doctor, and preterm birth is the biggest problem in obstetrics. So we're basically hitting the top 3.
That is absolutely huge. Kim, great job with this. Congratulations on all the connections you've been making. Would you help me give her a round of applause? Great job. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, we've got Tom Allen. Tom from Opango. I'm going to go ahead and replace you there. Okay. Tom, how you doing, brother? I can't hear you at all.
Oh, there we go. Hang on a second.
You know, when COVID, when Zoom became more in vogue, I was planning, my kids wanted to sell T-shirts because they hear me all the time saying, "You're on mute." And, you know, brought to then everybody would be like, oh, wait, where's the meeting? But it's good to see you,
Well,
man.
I think we got, I got confused on time zone. I was thinking I was like 2 or 3 from now. Here I am.
I caught you taking a sip of your coffee.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
All right, brother. Well, go ahead and take it away, man. I'm excited about what you're doing with Opango.
All right. Everybody see that?
There you go. You're good.
I feel fortunate that it came up on the first try there. So anyway, I'm Tom Allen with Opango, and about me, I've been in small, medium, and large companies, primarily in the C-suite, managing engineering, product management, and a business unit for one company. I've delivered telco quality products to the global markets and every time zone on both sides of the equator. So I've just really had a blessed career like that. I've scaled 2 companies from a gleam in the founder's eye to the exit out the other end. And it also turns out that I'm an aviation enthusiast. So Opango was really born out of the idea that I really am so much in love with aviation, but I'm also a technology guy. I'm fascinated with technology. So what we did is we identified an opportunity to make the world a safer place by providing the industry with an e-learning platform to help educate and certify pilots. And so that's kind of our tribe, is aviators and people that want to make the place a safer place to be. And now you can Google LMSs for aviation, but what we do that's a little different is that we actually manage manage the LMS for you. Okay, and so we do everything from soup to nuts. And we realize that also that other associations and small businesses often need to train and certify thousands of learners at a significantly lower price point. And that really, for a lot of people, it gets right down to it. It's like, I got this big job and I need to figure out how to be effective and maintain my cost structure. And so we claim that what we do is we make this all very simple for you. So I met Greg Brown out in Las Vegas. He's with HAI, and he is very frustrated that emergency and his current provider only guaranteed a 7-day turnaround via email. So I gave him a card and said, call me anytime. And he did. And then he invited me to Alexandria, Virginia for a day trip to meet the executive team. And what they basically told me is they're really good at helicopter operations, but they don't know delivery of content around the world. And so we actually ended up taking that business away from the largest LMS provider in the world, a company called Docebo. National Association of Flight Instructors is probably really just a great example. They are made up of volunteer corporate pilots, and they're also flight instructors. So they really just don't have time and staff to run around managing an LMS. And then Gary Reeves from Pilot Safety, he's a highly sought after speaker trainer. And he is just the guy, the go-to guy, but he's a solopreneur. Him and his wife run this thing. So, you know, we help him with delivering all this content. One of our most recent projects was the project with HAI called 56 Seconds to Live. And I know that's kind of probably right in your face, but the fact is they need to improve the safety record of helicopter operations through better decision making. And it turns out, statistically speaking, once you've made that last bad decision, your lifespan is 56 seconds. And I'm sure everybody here has heard of Kobe Bryant out in LA. And so they took off on a day to head toward LA on a day where the LA helicopter squad was not even flying because the weather was so bad. And I even got a briefing from the FAA about this. And the tragedy of that was that he could have not taken off. He could have landed anywhere. He could have turned around. There were just all kinds of things that he could have done. So we were really proud to have worked on that with him. So what do? We're the Chick-fil-A of the LMS platform. We are all about customer service, and we also that includes administering the LMS for people. The training strategies, almost everyone I run into, they have some sort of gleam in their eye, but they're not real clear about how to go about it. And so they need us to help them with what is their strategy for that. Instructional design, how to put the course together. Like 56 Seconds to Live, we spent a lot of time on how to organize and put that thing together. Content development, there again, there's videographers, audiographers, writers, illustrators, animators, all of those things have to be done. Also, there's a marketing strategy. Turns out, just because you put up a course on the World Wide Web, and there's 8 billion people in the world, you still have to have a go-to-market strategy, and you have to find your market and you have to market to them. We're very service oriented. I mentioned that already. And we are the outsourced e-learning department. So if you have a small business or an association and you want to do this, but you don't have the staff, we can do everything for you. Now, unfortunately, we had COVID-19, but COVID-19 really forced the global education system to embrace web-based online learning and training. And nowadays, employees are demanding it. They don't even want to drive from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They don't even want to drive from Dallas to Fort Worth to take a half-a-day class when they can just go do this in their office at home or at work or in their car. So employees are no longer willing to have some other kind of strategy when they can do something online. Now, the LMS billing worldwide back in 2019 was 9.64 billion. In 2022, it was 18.7, which was a 94% increase. And in 2027, it's expected to be 43.6 billion. So it's just really, really skyrocketing. Is the best way I can put it. So our go-to-market strategy is we need to do a lot more with our own digital marketing and outreach. We need to continue going to trade shows, industry events, sponsorships in our target markets. And we need to, as our customers grow, we need to add LMS administrators, because while we've noticed that you don't have to have one-for-one, our customers want to feel the comfort of knowing they can get a hold of somebody and that you can respond to them. And in fact, just last night, I was talking to someone about a product that they use. They said they like the product. And I said, well, is there any problems? They go, yeah, you can't get them on the phone. They don't answer their emails. They don't do anything. Well, that's not us. We are very reachable and approachable. We also need to, we've already actually accelerated our roadmap. We've put in our data analytics. We've just recently updated our UI, and that's complete. And the customers that we've launched it to are very, very pleased with what we've done so far. Our executive team is made up of James Roselle. He's our VP of Education Services. I have known and worked with Jim most of my career. Super sharp guy. We work together really well. Tom Dennis is our marketing and branding management. So he does all of our, website, messaging, those sorts of things. Ron Langham is our primary developer who architected and put together the product. And we've been working with him really since the beginning. Charlie Quinn is someone I've known really for a long time. And I've actually used him and his organization to staff multiple companies. I've hired hundreds of people through him. So he's a very, very steeped in getting me the right people to do what we need to do when we need to do it. I do have a set of advisors. Izzy, of course, he's, what could we do without Izzy? He's been fantastic with us and helping us craft our message and our slide decks. David Zumwalt, I've worked with him in 2 companies. He's a serial entrepreneur. And so I get a lot of really good advice from him about, there's always this question of you start with nothing and you got to scale it and exit out the other end. So we talk about those things. David Sim-Smith is with a venture capital firm here in Dallas, and I've known him for quite a while. Super sharp guy, knows the internet marketplace really well. Primarily he's focused on mobile, but super sharp. Pat Hamner with Patriot Capital. He was on the board of a company I was with, and Pat Hamner walked in one day with his box, with these inline skates. And he goes, look what we decided to invest in. And I'll be honest with you, I thought, skates, really? Well, it turned out those were Heelys. Heelys was, they were featured on CSI Miami, and they've been, I don't even, I think they just printed money with that thing over there. I could tell you what they made, but it was a lot. Dan Burmeyer is with Corporate Finance Associates. He is really, he's kind of walking alongside here because, if this company is going to exit at some point, we got to make sure that we're, properly positioned for that. And that's, he's kind of an M&A guy. So he's going to help with that once we get closer to the end. Bob Bolanger, our CFO advisor, his background and history is in SaaS models, and he's brought a lot to the party with that. Kyle Ferguson is a principal in Ferguson, Braswell, Frazier, and Kubaska. And I remember him when he was a young man and an attorney. He was talking to me about how he was going to start his own firm one day. Super sharp guy. He's now in 3 cities. They've been very, very helpful. So we're basically claiming that we'll be at 21 million in about 5 years. We'll be break even a couple of years after we get all of our investment lined up. Let's see. So what we're really trying to do right now is to come up with like a 500K bridge so we can get started on some of the things we need to do, a lot of our marketing in particular. And our plan says we expect to raise 4 million. Could be, if a miracle occurs that we can get there with maybe just the bridge loan. But right now we're trying to plan for what we think we really need. And I've already mentioned that just out of operations, we've already completed the roadmap, data analytics, and the updates. We really just need to really ratchet up our digital marketing, sales, and staffing for handling our customers. Anyway, that's my story. Thank you very much. Any questions out there?
Well, let's go ahead and run through this. Can you see me, hear me okay?
I can hear you, yes. Can I
Let's
stop the
see.
share now? Or?
Go.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and spotlight myself here. Okay. So let's go ahead and
there
run
you
through.
go.
Yeah, here I am. Sorry, I was eating took a few bites of my Egg McMuffin. I'm almost embarrassed to say that from time to time I go to McDonald's. But in any event, what I want to do is I want to highlight some of the things because it seemed very aviation focused and what this can grow into and the market in the LMS industry altogether. So if we were to think about anyone that needs to do continuing ed education, those type of credits that are necessary, lots of companies can leverage the Opango platform.
Right.
Which is the genesis was with aviation because of your background. So can you speak to just what's happened in the industry where we're not seeing people gather in a hotel anymore, a bunch of CPAs to learn some content and get continuing ed credits? Can you just talk about what's changed, what's on the horizon? The amount of money in this industry is massive and it's very, very profitable. It's not like you need to scale a whole bunch of headcount, but go ahead and speak to that with the last couple of minutes.
I failed to mention this earlier, but so this whole genesis of this thing was aviation, but turns out I'm a technology guy. And so we're really also moving into cybersecurity, which is just the hottest thing ever. I mean, I can't even describe for you what that's going to do for us. And then the other thing is healthcare. And it turns out that pretty much everybody in the LMS business, like when I went to e-learning summit in Florida last year, we all kind of have our verticals that we're in and what we call our tribes, you might say. So if I say who that is, it's aviation and cybersecurity and healthcare. I even speak on cybersecurity here in Dallas. I mean, if you ever get a chance to be here and I'm speaking somewhere about it, and it just, the interest level is just unbelievable. Now, if you just look at who we have as customers, we have an HR company that's doing the things around the respectful workplace, diversity, equity, and inclusion that's a big hot topic these days. We're working on that. One of my customers is actually a highly sought after speaker trainer. I mean, and how lucky for me, if you want him for a day, he's like $15,000. But you know what? I get to see all of his stuff for nothing. So
Right. And
I run
why?
into people all the time around Dallas and at these trade shows who are not in aviation, but have a desire to get into it. But because we're in some big markets, they want to talk to us. Does that answer your question?
It does, and I just pulled this up because I want people to understand the size of this market. It's sort of newer for maybe some investors that have been looking at this, and it's become more and more in vogue since COVID. But LMS market size was valued at 14.43 billion back in 2021. It's projected to go up to nearly $41 billion. CAGR's at about 14% annualized. So that compounded annual growth rate, 14%. That is absolutely staggering. This market is enormous. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that you're going to get a handful of investors that see this, value this, can scale this, and I think you're going to get bought by somebody. One of the things that in my role is I often have to bring people to the reality of things where I think they start off a company saying, hey, I'm going to be on the cover of Success Magazine. I'm going to be a $1 billion SPAC or a IPO, whatever it is. Tom, in your particular situation, you get bought for 25, 50, $100 million. That's some nice coin to start something else. You put a few shekels in your pocket, if you know what I mean. So
I know exactly what you mean. And one of the interesting things about this, a little surprising to me, is I get unsolicited emails regularly from firms that want to discuss buying this company. And I'm a little surprised by it. And I'm getting so many of those, I can even sort out the serious ones from the non-serious ones now, and it's surprising me. They just find us on the internet and they say, hey, we look at what you're doing and we like what you're doing. You're interested in selling this thing. And, I've talked to a few of them and we've got a couple that are followers now. So it's been kind of interesting. It's actually encouraging to have that kind of thing happen.
Tom, I'll tell you, there's no doubt in my mind this space is going to become really, really hot over the next couple, 3 years.
It is. It's
things. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, the thing that is making it is so hot, and there's so many people who want to get in it. But the opportunity for us is these people that we talk to, they don't have any idea even where to start.
Yep.
And so if I'm talking to a big company that has their own internal department, they've been doing this for years, that's probably not our customer. But our customer, I'm sitting right next to a guy who's a professor at one of the local universities here. And he goes, yeah, I need to do that. I mean, this is just few weeks ago.
Well, let's get together offline on a couple of things related to, and I'll tell you, it's private equity. Private equity is becoming very, very interesting space, and here's why. They're speculating in some areas, small cap companies just like yours, private companies. The reason why they're doing that is because they believe the market's overvalued, right? So the stock market, that is. So they're real careful with strategic purchases and things like that, and where companies are saying, hey, you want to buy us? Look at our stock price. So they're looking at the private side of things because they've got aging assets portfolio, okay? And those platform investments that they have, they're looking for add-ons to make it a little more juicy of a play where they can do a roll-up strategy. But one of the first things that they can do, think about this for a second, if you're a private equity company that bought a company that's scattered around the country, if not the world, right? And they've got some global offices, international offices here in the United States. You trim the fat, get rid of a bunch of that and say, we're going to use an LMS platform to broadcast things that need to be broadcasted with educational videos, continuing ed credits, whatever it is, an address from the CEO to the shareholders. Okay, so all of these things can be done on an LMS platform. It's an up and coming trend, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. So
I got to tell you,
any final thoughts before we go on?
Well, I was going to say these small associations with 3 or 4 people, they have international membership. And their membership is begging for training, and now they can deliver it.
Yeah.
And not only that, they can deliver it well. And so it's been good for us. So we're really happy with it.
Good
Anyway, I
job.
don't have anything else. Other than I hope everybody got it. It's not my first rodeo.
Yeah, I know that. I know it for sure, and I'm sure the audience recognizes that. By the way, everybody okay in Texas with those tornadoes that I saw pop up on my news feed?
I would like to say yes, but my house is about to be majorly repaired after an unbelievable hailstorm just a couple weeks ago.
Yep. Man,
They
I'm
were the
sorry.
size, they were bigger than golf balls.
Wow. Wow.
And we had our grandkids over, and we huddled in our kitchen, which is in the center of the house, because you could just hear them pounding the windows and the ceiling and everything. And
Yeah.
we were very concerned about it.
Most ominous sounds I've ever heard in my life is a hailstorm.
It's frightening. It really is.
Yeah.
And
All
if they get much bigger, they'll come actually right through your roof, and they'll be in the living room with you. So anyway, I think we're all okay now, though.
A round of applause. Great to see you, brother. Like I said, get on my calendar and let's talk about a strategy around private equity, because I think it's going to be right up their alley and they'll leverage your platform. So great job.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
Yes, we have got Mary Schillenberger. How are you, Mary?
Oh, I'm good. Hey, Izzy, good to see you.
Great to see you. You look beautiful. I'm gonna
Oh,
go
thank you.
here as well. There's the
Yes,
man.
and I have Steve on the call too, so
Look at this handsome
Yay.
guy, and he's got a collection of cars that I want behind him. You know, he's got the miniature version and the full scale version in his garage in the back. So, but it's great to see you, Steve.
Pleasure to see you as well.
Well, Mary, one of the most exciting things that I've ever done is collaborate with someone like yourself that took a shoestring budget, turned it into an MVP. I'm sitting in the stands using the iView, and the world around me is going, "What in the world is that thing? Oh, can I try it? Can I try it?" So I think you are a company as well. I don't want to continue abusing the phrase, but it's just we've got great companies in our portfolio, and you're going to be a household name, no doubt, just the way GoPro became a household name. But why don't you share a little bit before you get kicked off with your slide deck here, some of your background, maybe Steve. I mean, there's probably people that are going to be watching that know Steve already, but share a little bit about your background and what you've been doing here with iView.
sure. So I've been an entrepreneur most of my adult life. I am been running a promotional advertising company, working with large corporations, including Cisco and PG&E and several others. That's my background. I started this company with Art Schulenberger, my husband, who is also an entrepreneur, and he's both a profound inventor as well as an optical and mechanical engineer. So that's a little bit about me. Steve, would love to hear about your background.
I hate doing my commercial. Anyway, greetings to all. I should first explain why the departure from the norm a bit for Izzy in the way that he presents these. I'm on with Mary because I am a very passionate, which has helped my success with numerous enterprises, supporter of this play. I'm an investor in numerous PE, firms and situations. And this deal in particular has a personal note for me because it resonated so strongly that I asked Mary to be very much a part of this. And so what I can bring to the party, at least in a conversation like this, is more or less an investor's POV. Why should you care? What can you expect? Any of those types of scenarios. So pardon me, that's I guess explains part of why I'm here. Most people, and if you know me, it's probably because of my association to SoftBank. Though I've been in and around, I've done, I don't count it, but something like 8 or 9 startups. Some of them gave me a lot of scar tissue on the end of my nose from hitting the pavement. And some of them I did extremely well, and I have a very wealthy ex-wife. And you know, this one in particular, I think has got a great deal of legs and potential to it in the short term. I don't think the horizon on this is, 10 years, even with all of the weird stuff going on in the marketplace right now. So, my operating background, I'm not an investor by profession, other than I kind of, stopped running companies doing turnarounds, mostly all in high tech, back in 2012. And I found that I really wanted to only associate myself to companies that I thought could make a difference. This company's in a category that I think can reshape the way certain things are done relative to how we view and capture. And, if that's a fancy set of words for photography, so be it. So,
Well, I love how you would always say, Izzy, I just got tired of lying to my grandkids. I'd be at their recitals trying to record and oh yeah, I didn't miss it. I know exactly what you mean because of the activities that my kids are in: football, wrestling, lacrosse, dance, Krav Maga, all these other different things. But the reality is this is what it would look like, right? I'm looking at them on the field. My head is like, oh shoot. And then my kids would be like, oh, Dad, you missed, my move over there or whatever. So that won't happen with the eye view. So why don't we jump into those things, Mary? Go ahead and share your screen and run through the deck. I'm really excited for the investor audience and everyone that's going to be plugging into the recording to see what you've got here.
Thanks, Izzy. I appreciate the opportunity. Let me start by reintroducing myself, Mary Schulenberger, CEO and co-founder of Parlay Innovation. Frankly, we're on a mission to make nosebleed seats a thing of the past. That feeling when you're squinting to see the action at a live event? Most fans are so far away, they could barely see anything. They end up looking up at a jumbotron the whole time. You know what I'm talking about. It's not ideal. And we've talked about this just a moment ago about blocking our views with our phones, trying to capture special moments with especially parents. They want to watch and capture their kids during exciting games and performances. That's why we invented the iView. It's the world's first immersive smart binoculars that works with your smartphone. You just slip your smartphone in. We have advanced optics that magnify the phone screen, so you're seeing everything in high definition while you zoom in, view, capture, and even live stream the action. And more. We're enabling the next generation capabilities of technology like AI and AR. Can you imagine having live scores and stats in real time like they see on TV, only you're seeing it through the iView? We're super excited. We've demoed the iView with thousands of people at multiple venues. We've ran a successful crowdfunding campaign. We've designed, built, and shipped iViews to our retail customers, and we've received positive feedback and reviews from ESPN, Men's Journal, BBC, and several others. Now, as you can imagine, there's lots of different market segments that could use, and that resonates, that could use our product iView. So we conducted an independent qualitative study through a company called Imagine If, and they did a study based on the different segments, and not surprising, the first two of where it resonated the most were parents of kids in competitive sports and sports fans in large venues that can barely see anything. And then we're just getting started. There's so many more segments that we intend to go through.
Yeah, you know, what's always blown my mind, Mary, is how people pay for those big VIP box suites and you can't see
Yeah.
anything from up there.
Yeah, and it's amazing that this is like the elephant in the room. They don't these venues just keep getting bigger and bigger, and they don't take into account, they haven't done anything about how people can't really see, and yet, you know, you get such a better view when you're sitting at home watching it on TV. It's there. So, but we took those two market segments and we did a quantitative study, and based on over 7 million sports fans, which is, you know, and parents, which was our segments that make over 80K a year, and they identified themselves as the photographer of the households, because we found that it's the photographer of the households that are the ones that really this resonates the most with. The data that we got back was astounding. 64% said they were highly likely to purchase iViews at our retail price of $299. Well, that's our serviceable, obtainable market. This is low-hanging fruit with just the hardware sales alone. It's incredible. Our go-to-market strategy is based on a four-pronged channel approach. In order to create brand awareness, we'll have kiosks in venues to rent to fans so they can try it out, particularly in the nosebleed sections or the upper bowl level, as they call it, and in suites. And then we're also talking with and working with recruiters of the NCAA for divisions and the NIL, the name, image, and likeness promoters, and the affiliates, go through affiliate marketing, like with Share a Sale and some of the others. And we'll do an influencer ad campaign to reach the online marketing program. So our revenue drivers extend beyond just the hardware sales. We want you to understand that this is not just a hardware play. We've identified multiple revenue opportunities in both B2C and B2B with annual subscriptions and with our apps and our curated cloud platform. And with my background in promotional advertising, yes, we're going to advertise not only on the device itself, but also on the UI, so that this will produce more sponsorship opportunities for teams and venues. Our innovative product, iView, has attracted interest from several potential business partners and organizations, which Steve can answer a lot of these questions, but that may come up about this. But we've got some LOIs and some NDAs out with these companies and organizations. We're a dynamic team of experienced entrepreneurs. You've heard about my background in promotional advertising, and Steve Kellman, former CEO of SoftBank. We have a fractional CMO from Disney, and we have world-class engineers with multiple patents, as well as both software and hardware engineers. We've brought hundreds of products to market. In summary, we've raised half of our $1 million seed round. We've reduced market risk. We've built our MVP, filed some IP, produced 1,000 retail-ready iViews, launched our iOS and Android app, shipped to customers, and we're ready. We're ready to prove the product market fit and build out our digital infrastructure with our cloud platform. Please join us and Izzy with this exciting journey to learn more about our compelling investment opportunity. Thank you. Happy to take any questions.
Great job, Mary. Give her a round of applause. Excellent job. We're going to keep things moving here, but I do have a couple of things that I want to just highlight so that folks that are watching the recording or tuning in live can really understand where iView is going. The first thing I want to dismiss is that this is not a hardware only type of play, right? That's like the kiss of death with investors. It's like rolling the dice, is this going to make it or not? Well, let me ask you a question. When you think about AI, ChatGPT, and all the things that you can do with that today, let's look down the technology dev sprint of what's going to be happening with iView. Let's take something like, oh, I don't know, bird watching, okay? And you're looking through the iView and it captures the image of a bird and you're like, what the heck is that? I've never seen that. There have been those type of birds in my backyard before. Maybe coming from New York, I'm just not educated in that. But in any event, there have been birds that land in my backyard. And I'm like, what in the kids, come over here. What in the world is this? I can have the iView, look at that, and it's going to flash in the future and say, hey, you know what you're looking at right here? And I can ask the question to some AI and all these different things. The roadmap that you have is incredible. Being able to start here in the beginning, ground floor, where this is more than an MVP, that product. It's a marketable product. People are already buying it. People love it. People gathered around me and I started talking with them saying, hey, you know what we'll be able to do in the future with this? We can be watching our kids and trying to get an understanding of, number one, where are they on the field? Because I lose that from time to time. But AI can track them and tell you, highlight them exactly where they are. You can also know where the down marker is, the line of scrimmage. How close are they, right?
Yeah.
We've had some terrible spots with the ball. And I'm wondering, I'm like, oh my gosh, the way this ref spotted the ball, his kid's got to be on the other team because we were way over here and he spotted the ball over here. I'm like, what in the world's going on? The iView can capture all that. PSO, by the way, for anyone listening in the state of Colorado, I'd love to be able to do that and then forward it on to CHASA. That's the Colorado High School Activities Association, to say, you got to fire this ref, man. He's just like, he's blind. He can't see where the line of scrimmage is, where the spot of the ball is. This is just going to be so exciting in the future. I think of a sport like golf, that I'm a terrible golfer, but you know what? Because of the world of finance that I'm in, and I don't know, Steve, you've been the CEO of SoftBank. I don't know how many deals you closed on the golf course, but you know how many I've closed on the golf course? Boom. That many. So, but every financial expert told me, oh, you got to have a membership. Anyway, my point is I can have the iView, see where the pin is, give me AI information in the future. I'm not saying that it does that now. I'm just saying this is the on-ramp to the future of what people are looking for out of a device like this. And it is super exciting. And I wanted to make sure that the audience heard that.
Yeah, and I want to point out too, it's super lightweight. You hold it in your hands. I don't have large hands, and as you could see,
Less than the weight of a phone.
Yeah. And you just slip the phone in. It's really easy.
Can you just demonstrate that real quick? Just slip your phone in so that they can see that.
Sure.
So folks, what she's doing here is she's just throwing the phone in
Just
there.
pinch this in. Well, you download the app first and you pair it with the device. This is the touchpad that actually controls the app in your phone. So when you're
just like your phone. So if you're
looking through,
that's perfect. You see that in there, yeah.
You're seeing everything in high definition. They've told us it's like having a personal jumbotron.
And you know what was funny is like Mary slapped reality in my face because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with this thing. It feels awkward. I don't know, Mary. I don't think it's going to take off. And she's like, grab your phone. Are you having any trouble navigating on your phone? Just navigate it like it's your phone. Once I did that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's all it is, right?
Yeah.
It's just navigating. All it's doing is that app that you have, which is remarkable, and the partnership with Apple. So all it's doing is taking that and allowing you to make that device function just like your phone. So incredible product. I absolutely love it. I think it's going to take youth sports by storm. We're going to heighten that visibility. And congratulations, Steve, for being a part of this as well, because I think we all stand to make a tremendous amount of money with this.
Indeed so.
Agreed.
Right.
Thank
All right,
you.
everybody. Applause. Thank you so much, Mary. Excellent job. Okay, up next, we've got Eric Terrell. Eric, you there for My Life? There he is. Let me go ahead and
I am
spotlight.
here.
I see you, buddy.
Great presentations, everybody. Really great.
Oh, that's not the Grand Canyon. What is that?
Pardon me.
Is that the Grand Canyon behind you?
Oh, no, that's up in Utah.
Yep, there you go. Again, I still feel like a tourist in my own town living here in Colorado for 11 years now. We don't see things like that in New York City, Long Island, or anything like that. But I should have known that was out in Utah.
Yep, right up the road.
All right, brother, take it away.
All right, 1 second. All right, can you see that screen?
Yes, sir.
What is My Life? We're going to rebrand My Life into Social Life. We had some trademark issues, but this is a technology presentation and a business advertising presentation. So basically, My Life is this is the MVP for Social Life. It is a things to do platform. It's where you want to go. It's hyper local. So it is when you turn on your phone, it'll tell you the things to do the closest to you, or you can search for the keyword, or you can put in a zip code. And it's a technical product. So why invest in a technical product versus others? There's all sorts of great products out there. One, we've submitted a patent and got it accepted. It has, they have to go through the patent work. They have great returns. We're going to break even in 17 months. And actually, if it goes right before then, sort of a market disruptor. There's no other app around in our space that does this. Highly scalable. We're going to prove Arizona and then roll it out to 54 cities. Does it have to be manufactured? No, we're rewriting the software now. I don't have to be government approved. I don't have to market it to individual people. We're preloading the app with all sorts of information through APIs and some screen scraping. Can I leverage AI and big data? Yes, I'm going to know what people are searching for and what they're looking for. And that data is valuable. Huge upside. We have a slow burn rate, few employees. It's highly technical. We'll have some territory managers when we go into the new cities, and we'll have some data normalizers to check for duplicates and fix the data that comes in. And we think we have a lot of exit opportunities. So what's in it for the consumer? The consumer is going to download a mobile app, and it's free to them, and they can control advertising they get, notifications they get within that application. You spend a lot of time hunting for what to do, and the minute you get done hunting on the internet, it's gone. You pick something, you go, oh, what was that other thing I looked at? I got to go back and hunt some more. There's no way to save it and retrieve it. Our platform does that. There's no platform that encompasses all types of entertainment. We have over 900 different variables in the system of all sorts of entertainment. It's all inclusive. So our solution is a hyperlocal entertainment product that allows you to search and retain items. As you search items, you can add them to your following, my hot list, my attending list, or my favorites list, and then you can go back and receive them. It retains all your user preferences. So I can create a user preference like kids night, kids day out, and I'm only going to get kid related events and places to go. I'm not going to get the bars and things like that. I can also do a guy's night out to watch football and find maybe a Packers bar, and that will all come back to you. So it's all inclusive for everybody, local bars, restaurants. We can do school function, churches, city celebrations, All of that is in the application. I'm rushing through this a little bit because I'm going to show you the application at the end here and how it works. For businesses, so businesses need to promote. We've got a low-cost way of a business to promote what they're doing. They can put in their specials, they can put in their happy hours for no additional cost, and then they can list all the things in their venue that are unique to them. So they can have events, they can have horse track betting, they can have lottery, they can put all that in their identification of their business and not have to go out and change their website. Everything they do something, which it's just automatically point, click, and add in our system. So our solution for the businesses is this geolocated local community organizing. We can use all sorts of AI and ML, so we know who the consumers are. We did put in a COVID item into this app because we started pre-COVID, and that's going to be silent going forward. It allows them to market their unique features. So who wants to use that? Bars, churches, special events, food trucks, public schools, musicians. We can put musicians on. So if you're a musician and you have a following, you can be on there and I can know where you're playing. Existing competitive platforms. So we don't think these are competitors, although they are an event and things to do grouping. Most of the time in all of these competitors, the data is not managed and anybody can add content. So a lot of times if you go out and say, what's there to do in Phoenix, Arizona, where I'm at, I'll get 3 events and I'll get 22 happy hours. And it's just very frustrating. In the case of Eventbrite, you can only get data if you're a registered client. So if I'm going to sell a ticket to a business meeting or some event you put on Eventbrite, that's all you're going to see. In the case of Google, they don't manage any of the data. And this is really not their focus to get into this. They make more money in other ways other than to do what we're doing. We have local news media sites next door, our competitors. We've already got 9 cities that are signed up to use us as their things to do. And we've got 5 newspapers when we just started marketing a month ago. We're very unique. We have the geolocated product. The mobile app is unique to each individual. You can customize it. Consumer knowledge of searches. We'll be able to retain all the searches and what people are doing. We'll be able to tell this location, hey, people are searching you. They're searching, people are searching for a dart tournament. You have dartboards. You need to get on and publicize your dart tournaments. We have private reviews embedded in the app. So if I go somewhere and I want to review them, that review goes directly to the business. And that business then can respond directly to the user if the user allows, but they're not published. So we get out of the Yelp issues of saying, you know, I got a bad review or it's a competitor. We have 2 channels that we've been marketing and launched. Like we said, we launched it about a month ago. We have the Arizona Restaurant Association involved. We have the bar restaurant insurance brokers. We have 2 alcohol distributors that are interested in using the app. We have a partnership already with the Deer Valley Schools. And these are the people, when we do all these marketing structures for associations, they will market our product for us to all of their members. Peoria Chamber of Commerce is interested. We have many local municipalities. Westmark is a conglomerate of 9 cities in the West Valley that all want to use it for their things to do. And they all have databases that we can go into and load from their database. The consumer side, it's the newspapers. They will market to 20,000 homes. That's in the East Valley. We have a bunch of business partnerships, and we'll do social marketing next door, Facebook, and we're involved with some social influencers in the area. We're going to roll out Arizona and then roll out to the next 50 cities. Chris and I are the major partners. We're both credit card payments professionals, been talking to merchants all our lives. We have a IT partner that is Kiwi Tech, who's building our new software. Kiwi Tech joins us at 50% cash and 50% stock in the building of the software. And then we'll probably hire a third-party marketing company to help us market. We just landed an opportunity with somebody that's huge in marketing, a star, and they're getting involved. We haven't cut the deal yet, but that's really promising. Right now, we're looking for $300,000. The IT development's 150. We have our first investor. We started the IP development about 3 weeks ago. It's working just great. We have the commitment for that in. And then we've got some marketing and some staffing. Like I said, we're not going to need a lot of people to staff it. Let me do this. Let me pull up. All right, can you see my app?
Yes, sir.
All right, so here's the application. This is the MVP, which is minimal viable product, which is, this isn't going to how it's looked, but this is the nature of it. You'll have things to do. Obviously, this is on a small database, but it'll give you a feel for what this product does. It's out on, this app is out on both the Android and iPhone store. So this gives you an idea. This is just local events. This is based on where I live. These are the closest ones to where I live. I can put in a profile. Like I said, this profile is for, it's a guy's night out I have in there. I can put in a name, zip code, a keyword, and then I can find out what's today, tomorrow, this week. And I'm clicking on one of these. I can add it to my favorites. This is a saxophone event. We'll have icons that say what it is. This is the description, and that'll be a lot bigger on the new one. And then here's your opportunity to leave a review after you go. Let's say you're into music. Once you go into your preferences and pick music, it'll come back to you and say, well, this is what's going on in the music world. And there'll be food trucks and in a park. It's an entertainment concert. It's a celebration. It's themed. It's got live music. And then there's all the details of it. So we focus on low cost or free events. If we have a concert that is like on Ticketmaster, we'll have all of that in here, but we'll exit to Ticketmaster for people to look for those tickets. So these are local specials based on where I'm at and how far away I'm at. And so this is Penny Drinks. This is at Fletcher Sports Bar. I can add it as in my hot list. I can actually go and invite friends to come and meet me over there if I would like to, up here in this area. Our list, so I can go back and find things. This is my hot list of ones I've included the hot list. I can eliminate it. I can see the details of that item by going through it. I have a favorites list. I have a following list, and there'll be an attending list so we can manage that. These areas here that are coming will allow us to put, add some friends that are local friends, and then I can invite them to go do something. And we can create something. We can actually vote on maybe between 2 or 3 things to go to. We get into the restaurant side. And these buttons on the front of this page are going to be, you're going to be able to customize them to the things you like with about 9 buttons. So here we got these icons: food, drink, craft beers, wine. You can do smoking. These are the kind of music they have. These are their hours. This is all the sports packages and TV packages this guy has. He's got the Olympic Channel. He's got NFL. I don't know how many of you want to go to see an NFL game, but if they don't have the Sunday ticket NFL, they're going to get what's on local. And you may not be able to get the team you want to see. These are some of the events they have, and they can create an event within this app and publicize it on here in regards to what they're doing. We have, this is my personal profile. I can go in here and decide the music I want to get. I can go in here and click foods that I want to, I want to show up first. This is the area where I do a review. I would pick up, I've gone to some place and I want to do a review. And so it sets up a chat session or an email session between the business and me, but it's not public, and that the merchants really like that. So this is the settings on the app. I can customize the front page. This is going to be a lot bigger. I can have notification alerts, and I can have user review prompting, and I can control. So I'm not getting a bunch of ads when I open this up, and I'm not getting a bunch of alerts. I can control all that within my user app. And that is how the user app works. Can you see that? My life, it's black.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the business side. I'm going to click. I've already created a business in here, and the business then gets on this and says, well, what am I doing? This is his dashboard, and this is where he sets up all his venue demographics. His times, his opens, he can put pictures in, he can set up multiple locations. He can go in there and select all the venue uniqueness items. So for instance, we go to a place called Connolly's, and they have horse track betting, they have sportsbook betting, they have a DJ, they have a patio that's dog friendly, that has misters, they've got lottery tickets, they're a Nebraska watch bar, they have golden tea. All of that stuff are things that a guy like me would be interested in. I used to go play golden tea with my brother, and we had a heck of a time finding places that had it. So, and they can submit events, they can see all their events. There's some analytics of who they've got on the system. And that's the business side of this product. There you go.
And the demo looks great. And what I think is going to be something that brings it all into focus here is a use case scenario. Traveling all over the country, maybe a business person decides to take his wife and family on something that's extended. Hey, what can my family do while I'm at a conference? You know, that type of thing. That question's probably not going to come up when you're in Orlando, right? But it might if you're in Peoria, Arizona, or it might, or if you're in Scottsdale, or if you're in Dallas or something like that. So you fly into there, and now you can put these things that you're interested in, and you're a family, whatever. I can even put in there that I'm looking for a restaurant that has really good vegan options, right? I can put up things in there where I'm traveling with my family, so I don't necessarily want to go to this type of environment or this type of atmosphere. I want it to be really family friendly. I might be traveling with my dog and make sure that it's okay for my dog to come into a venue with me. It's remarkable to me in the state of Colorado how many places you can bring your dog, but in New York it's just not the same. So someone maybe traveling to New York might have some of these challenges and say, "Oh, I wasn't aware of that, so I got to prepare for that." So I love that. In fact, there's someone on here. I don't know if you can hear me. It's Mark Holmes. He's connected with a whole bunch of different properties and things like that. And what I love with a synergy that I could see here, I should likely get you guys on a call, is if I'm moving to a whole new city, excuse me, and I'm going to be living in an apartment building or a condo or whatever it is, and I have no idea what's around me, I can start preparing for that and learning, all right, where can I catch the game when I get into town? Where can I watch the Nuggets win? You know, that type of thing. So all of these things you can put right into those, let's call it a dashboard on your app. And now it's going to ping me and let me know what's available, right? Am I going down the right?
Yeah, you are. My wife and I like Italian food, and then we like to go listen to country music for free. Well, that's real easy. I
That's a
have
combination.
Italian, and where do I find free country music after eating Italian food? This app will tell you where that's at.
That's awesome. You know, one of the things I wanted to mention as well, because you just kind of went over it very, very quickly, and I'm not going to share the name, but you've gotten some celebrity interest, high level celebrity interest.
High level, yes.
That one has an existing show and things like that. You know, you can liken it to the Guy Fieri's of the world going out and about, and that's not him. But in any event, what I love about what we do here, hence the name FEP Collaborative, is we pull people together, we make connections. You know, my friend Mark November, he made a connection there. Same thing happened with Duncan, with John Sally, an incredible NBA star. Can you just speak especially to those that are just getting started here, how important it is to not only network, but to follow up, to go out there boldly, because what you got here now from where this was a year ago is night and day. But what I love about what you and Chris is you had this vision that is now what you were showing me on wireframes, it's now come to life. So touch on a few of those things here. I know that was a shotgun approach, but we've got a couple minutes, and I just wanted you to share a little bit of your heart.
Yeah,
with that.
I think one of your other partners in Fidelity told me to go over to Venture Starters and take a look at that group and just see what's going on over there. So we went over there and decided to pitch, and my microphone didn't work. It was a pain in the neck. And the guy that runs it was going on vacation and made a comment about, if you have pitch decks, send them to me on vacation. So I did send him the pitch deck. He comes back, introduces us to a celebrity. And last week we went and visited the celebrity and did a pitch. And I couldn't believe it. He just said, I want to do it, and I want to do all the marketing. I'm going to be your marketing guy, and I know where to get the money, and I know who wants it. And he just bought in, like, I couldn't believe it. And it was just a great meeting. So we're real excited about that. We have our first investor that's going to help us with the IT part. And now we've got a really major league marketing person that wants to take over the marketing side of what we're doing. And they got very excited. So it was great. It was a great meeting.
Great job, man.
That just came out of luck, pure luck.
Oh, no, that's not luck. You know, hard work plus opportunity, when those two come together, it looks like luck to the layperson looking in, but they don't know the road that you paved of just pounding the pavement and meeting with people. So congratulations, you and Chris are doing a great job. So give him a round of applause. We're going to jump over to Duncan Burns. Duncan, I was just mentioning a little bit about you there with talking about the connection. And, you know, it's always like this degree of separation. It's funny because my kids will say that all the time, like, Dad, how do you know so many celebrities, and you always come in contact with celebrities? And I don't know them personally. It's that I network, right? Someone that I know knows somebody, or, you know, it could be 2 different, 3 different connections, whatever it is. I just love connecting people. But it happened recently the other day. Ashton Kutcher was at my son's graduation, had nothing to do with me. His nephew was graduating, and I got a picture of he and I. And then, of course, my kids were like, you see, you're always around celebrity. I'm like, no, that was just a chance happening. All the other stuff is by networking. And we networked, and you connected with Pat Fiore, who was connected with John Sally, who is now an investor in your company. And talk a little bit about that, your background, before you jump into the slide deck, because it's really exciting what's happening right now.
Great. No, the fact that we've signed now with John Sally, I've had a relationship with him actually for about 2 or 3 years. But it's like this year now we're positioned to go ahead and do our launch and do a scaled production. And so I really am happy that it's on paper and it's real that he's a partner. But what's really interesting is that when you meet a person like John Sally, he has connections all over. It's not, you think, okay, 4-time NBA champion. Yeah, he played with Michael Jordan. He can call it Michael Jordan. You know, he played with Kobe Bryant, and all these teams that he played on, he got a championship ring for it. So he's moved around in different clubs or different teams, but he's also excelled. And the thing is, you meet a person like that, they bring the best out in you. And they also have these contacts that are like, wow, actually turns out he also grew up with Will Smith, and he's connected in Hollywood, that he's actually, John Sally's been in Disney movies, and he's been an actor in various projects. And he also has been the star or the commentator on several shows. So his spoken word is so eloquent and so refined. So anyway, you meet people like that, they help you get your base spread into many different other things. So again, he's connected with films and music and sports, but also food. And that is one thing that I've gotten very much into the last now 15, 20 years, is a device that really came from me wanting to make it so my kids would come home for a fresh snack. That was the problem that I was dealing with. And what happened is the solution that I came up with actually solved greater problems than that. So it deals with, I mean, I've literally studied the arc of how we've been looking at food over many decades. And, you know, we're animals, folks. We need food. And we are this odd animal that chooses to eat different types of things, where other animals have already spent millions of years developing their focus on eating grass or eating rabbits or whatever it is that they eat. We don't really know what we want to eat. We change our decisions all the time, but it's affecting our health and it's affecting our country. So that's one thing that I wanted my kids to be able to grow up and at least have the basis on being able to eat healthy food. But then that was the thing. I'm going to go ahead and share this on the screen. You guys see the dome there, and we've utility patented it. This is, again, what happened. I wanted to have my kids come home to have something that has fresh vegetables and fruit in it, because it's so much better than a cracker box that they eat up and 5 minutes later, they're hungry again. So I wanted that out there. And what happened was I utilized my gift. I have a little bit of a green thumb, but I also grew a greenhouse when I was a kid with my older brother. And we knew that plants can actually drink water through moisture that's in the air, as long as it's moist enough. If it's not moist enough, they dry out and you've got kind of a vegetable that's not going to be edible in a couple hours sitting on the table. This keeps it for 5 or 6 days, sometimes even weeks, if you have the vegetables in there properly. What the problem has been is that these are other things that it's solved, is that we're throwing a lot of food away. And I noticed that with my device, with everything that I put in there, of course, people would eat it up and 100% would not be thrown away. So that was interesting, because we are really throwing over $100 a month in our households each month in the United States. Active households are throwing away $1,400 worth of food that they buy. And also, Americans aren't eating enough vegetables, even though they really want to have good diets. And it's even part of our philosophy or our heritage that Popeye would have a can of spinach to make him strong, but we don't do it. And so this is a thing that puts it out in front of people. Now, the solution is to get the vegetables out on the table. And this container looks kind of simple, but actually it deals with different biological functions that the vegetables are going through. They are alive. This is food that you're buying from the store, but they're still alive. They are growing, they're changing, then they're spoiling too. But what happens is, because the moisture is in there and it's protected, this kind of very special space allows them to stay alive. And the ethylene gas that they emit that makes them sometimes spoil faster or grow faster, that escapes. So that was what the solution was. We were able to utility patent it. There's full IP on this product, and it's not just an interesting device for the kitchen. It has several verticals, and I'll go through it. This is about a change in our society, though. We're actually eating more plant-based foods. We're thinking, with COVID, if I eat more vegetables and have more fruit and everything, I'm actually having an immunity that's boosted outside of these inoculations that people are getting tired of doing. So this is about a change in our culture, in our society, and we are able to, with the Veggie Dome, provide the next step. We are the banner for this next move towards people eating healthier, eating fresh food. And by the way, the industry of agriculture and people getting fresh food to their plates has changed in the last 10, 15 years, even the last 2 or 3 years, that it's more accessible. And now we've got a place to put it. It's on the table with something that's going to be eaten up. I'm not saying you get rid of the refrigerator, but this is a different type of vision, that you've got another place now that's not the fridge, where it's cold storage. A lot of them are not even washed yet, but you wash them, put them on the table. It's a secondary place that we're now going to be able to put food. For what? To be able to reach out and grab it and eat it. So we do have a history of traction. We've been able to gain the IP. I'm going to go through some of these slides kind of fast, and I want to invite anyone to go ahead and contact me. We'll go through the specifics, because we have a go-to-market strategy, which is very normal for a consumer product, but also we have got some upper level ways to go to market that we have devised that I'd love to share with you. It's just make this more accessible to people's eyes. And let me tell you, we had a successful Indiegogo, and when people saw it, boom, they bought it. A lot of times people need to have something put in front of them 7, 8, 9, 10 times before they start thinking about buying it. And that's the normal way in which people are shopping around. They're inundated by things on the internet. But we had people see it for the first time and buy it. So it's a very visually great thing to sell. But we are going to have John Sally, who is not just this great basketball player, not just in movie stars, and not just producing music, also here in Hollywood and LA, but he has a vision that he wants people to have a healthier lifestyle, and he would like people to eat more fruits and vegetables. He even testified in front of Congress in the Senate to make it so that more produce was being served in schools across the nation. Okay, he has a vision, he has a mission. And guess what? We have a product that allows that to come into the kitchens. So this is very exciting. We are into making change. We're into mass sales. That's how we're going to be able to make this thing a real successful company, in that we're planning on even going towards an exit in 4 or 5 years with this thing bursting out. Why? Because we can focus on 6 multi-billion-dollar industries that would utilize this as a tool, as a thing where, let's say you're in the healthcare industry, or let's say you're in nutrition, and you say, get with this Veggie put it on your table, fill it up on a Sunday. By Tuesday or Wednesday, I want you to have eaten those vegetables that we've talked about, and fill it up again. And then it becomes a tool where we've gotten emails and letters from moms going, my God, my kids are just eating up the vegetables. I can't believe it. So one of my problems is, how to keep the thing filled up. And just think about this. This is not just a one product company. We're into making it so that the kitchens and there are tools that are supporting healthy lifestyles, healthy grab and go food, and also potentially we can integrate with farmers and let's say local farmers to get supplied homes of bags with vegetables that all they do is open up the bag, dump it in the Veggie Dome, and boom, they're ready to go. So there's other aspects of this company that is not just the consumer product, but it's actually lifestyle changing that we're talking about. We've got a great leadership team, and I'm going to keep going through these slides fast, and we can look at it later. We've got a CMO on board who's got deep experience in category creating products. She's been great on it. Trevor Anderson is right now our CEO. He's brilliant. He's proactive. And Michael Stilatano, who has really had great experience. He's our CMO, our CFO. Advisors, I'm going to clip through this quickly also. We're looking at funding. $1 million is going to make a huge shift and a change in kitchens throughout our nation. It's not that much money that we need, because we're making a simple product that we've made 8,000 of them already. We've sold them out. We know how to make them. It's not that. It's about having this concept come to people's kitchens where they go, oh, I like that. I'm going to get it. It's the next new thing in the kitchen. Okay. Inventory is where we're taking the lion's share. Sales and marketing is going to be wonderful. And with John Sally, he and I are going to be contacting leaders of those groups that I just showed you that slide of. And we're going to be able to then make it so that they become a part of this change. Our product helps to support their mission. So they'll bring us in, and John's got some great things lined up for that. raising money is $1 million. Now, we're interested in a revenue share option and also equity terms. Equity terms is going to be the major part of it, but revenue share would get a short-term or ROI for the people that would be involved with that. But I think there's also here this financial shot that I want to get through these slides a little bit, because what happens is call me, get in touch with me, and we can be able to make this presentation much more in depth. I'm going to come off of the screen share right now, because I want to talk about this is something that is not only going to be a huge shift in the landscape of people's kitchens. You walk in the kitchen, where's the food right now? What last change has happened in the kitchen? We've got the next new thing. We've got it's like as you buy it as a gift. We make it for only about $14, $15. We're going to be selling it for $50. A lot of it's going to be direct to consumer at the beginning. Once we get the flow going, we're going to triple our production each time. Each order is going to triple. We're going to be able to make this thing go multiple times, and then that's what the exit's about. But we're going to start with, I said, direct to consumer, because that's our ace card. We've got John Sally, who has a vision of changing people's lives and getting out. And yeah, go ahead. I heard another voice.
Oh, no, it's probably somebody was off mute, but it's a good intersect because we've only got a couple minutes left. And
Yeah,
what I
go
want to
ahead.
do is bring some attention to the fact of, let me rewind 20 or so years, where someone took a cheap electric grill made in China, brought here to the United States. It was called back then, if you remember on late night TV, the lean, mean, fat grilling machine. That sure was a long name. And somehow people in the conference room and the marketing team said, this is it, this mouthful of words, this is it. And it took the nation by storm by using a celebrity athlete, George Foreman. He wasn't even a celebrity back then. They took an out of favor athlete, as a matter of fact. And you take someone like that is in favor in movies, current celebrity, John Sally, four-time NBA champion, rubbing elbows with the likes of the late Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Shaq, all these people. And now you take a beautiful product like yours, and it is beautiful. What was really cute last night is I was cutting up some mangoes because my wife was worried it was going to be they were going to be going bad. My kids immediately wanted to put them into the veggie dome, although it's not appropriate for the veggie dome. But they didn't know that. My point is, even my kids are involved with the veggie dome. Where years ago, and you've always heard me tell the story about how they were reaching in the past for gummy bears and things like that, and now they're reaching into the veggie dome. When you put it out there, to your point, Duncan, we're animals and we see this color, this texture, this roughage, and we're like, I want to get some, right? Now, if you go to a nice hotel and they have a beautiful crudité out, right, you're inclined to eat some of that. But I bet you, unless it was in front of you, you're not like, oh man, I really could be, I got a hankering for a crudité right now. It's because of the environment and the atmosphere that we all live in. Unlike yours, Duncan, where over the years, you've trained your household to reach for fresh fruits and vegetables. That is awesome. The propensity in the society today, which, I mean, if they thought COVID was a concern, type 2 diabetes is on the rise. It's rampant. It's because the things that we're eating, I don't even know if they're food anymore. Years ago, I used to be able to go sit at my kitchen table with my friends after playing some wiffle ball in the backyard or having a water gun fight. My mom would make us a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You can't even do that today. But why? Because someone could die of anaphylactic shock. What's changed over the years? Well, it's the things that we're putting into the ground that are supposedly coming out. And now with your particular product, you can have real fresh fruits and vegetables, maybe even from your own garden that you planted, or that you take the time to select the non-GMO type of products and produce that you can buy from the store. This is in addition to the kitchen that I think is going to take the world by storm the way the George Foreman grill did. That's my long-winded way of saying thumbs up. I'm proud of you, proud to be a part of this project. I love the aspect of the collaborative effect that we have with people. And now, because of the work that we've done together, you've been able to pull in a significant investment from a celebrity athlete And now the world is your oyster with this. I think it's going to be in kitchens all over the world. And I'm so super stoked about this product, the Veggie Dome. So great job, Duncan.
The next new thing for the kitchen, and it's got a purpose. It improves people's lifestyles. It's got 6 verticals that it can sell to, multi-billion-dollar. We're ready for mass market, and then an exit in 4 or 5 years.
Well, it begs the question. Right now, I'm drinking a cup of coffee, right? And in my house, I've got a Keurig, I got an espresso, I got all the things to get whatever. My wife had mercy on me when COVID hit and I couldn't go to $6 anymore. I mean, Starbucks. You can't walk out of there without paying $6 for a cup of coffee. But anyway, if coffee makers are on top of everybody's kitchen counter, what do you think has a better effect on your body? Fresh fruits and vegetables or a cup of coffee? I mean, you say that out loud 3 times and you tell me if you think you should invest. With that, I love what you're doing, Duncan. Super excited. Great job. Give him a round of applause, everybody. And we are headed over to Miss Lauren Skinner next. Lauren, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. I'm going to get you up on here. Where did you go? There you are. Okay. Replace this. Good to see you, Dunk. There she is. How are you, Lauren?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I think what you're doing for the industry that you're in is amazing. Why don't you introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, your background, and what you're doing with Tap This Money.
Awesome. Yeah. So my name is Lauren and I'm from the beauty industry. So beauty, health, and wellness is my space currently, though we have multiple verticals that this will go up into. That's where we're starting. So I help solopreneurs and 1099 entrepreneurs manage and scale their business cash flow with ease while utilizing AI business services to customize their business financial journey, because ultimately cash flow doesn't matter if you don't know where you're putting it. So that's what I do.
Excellent. Well, go ahead and share your screen with your deck. I know you want to run through some things. And as you're doing that, what I love about this, and when I first started getting to know you, what I headed off with right away is this industry. You can either be someone that does like a little bit of part-time hair care on the side, or someone like you that was in high level beauty, where, earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, not just cutting hair, but in the world of what are they called? Hair extensions, I believe is the term, correct?
Yeah, I did extensions specifically. So high dollar, high ticket.
High dollar, high ticket, where women were investing, thousands of dollars to make, their hair look beautiful and everything else, but not necessarily keeping a lot of it. And you saw a lot of those mistakes, having a background yourself or your family's background in finance and doing well for themselves. And it's like, why aren't these people doing better with this? And it's because they weren't taught that. And your mission is to make sure that they're taught how to better utilize their money, how to have better coordination and integration of the platforms that are available for money. You're just keeping it more money in their pockets so that they can actually live a lifestyle around the earnings that they have. So go ahead and jump into it.
Yeah, just before I jump in really quick, just to kind of give a sentence on what you just said, the industry's changed. It used to be that hairstylists made $30,000 to $50,000 a year, and that was that. I think the beauty, health, and wellness space in general has changed, and people are investing way more, but they don't know what to do with it. So that is the vertical we chose to start in. So again, this is Tap This is the app, and it is a app-based program, but also has a web presence as well, so that you can access it both ways. And so what's the problem for solopreneurs and 1099 creatives? Essentially, there are 3 main problems that I noticed across the board in working with just different people in the issues that they were having. The cash flow management, it's a very personal journey, but it's also really complicated. And it can be really expensive and unorganized across multiple platforms and apps and tools that you try to use to try to streamline everything and or get the job done of trying to manage it. And there's really not a lot of support or mentorship when you download all these other apps. So I found that on average, people had between 9 and 12 apps that they were paying for and trying to utilize, but not really utilizing them to their full potential and or not able to navigate transitioning from app to app or transposing information. So it became a big issue that I found. So what are the facts? Every year, 2.4 million new businesses are started in the US, And over 45% of those are failing within the first 5 years. And statistically, it's showing that it's because of poor cash flow management. It's because of inadequate financial visibility. There's bad planning and or no strategy at all, just the hustle of trying to make the money, right? And there's not a lot of education or mentorship, and the information that's out there through social media and other platforms that do have information, you have to sift through and find the truth or the applicable information. But bottom line, financial literacy is lacking. And in my opinion, it's across multiple generations, and it's taking a toll. So your business isn't one size fits all, and the solution can't be either. So a lot of these resources, these apps that are out there right now, they're basic spreadsheets with a facelift. So they're plug and play, which in theory seems easy, but if you don't have the correct information to plug into the exact box that it's needed, the whole thing goes awry. It's one size fits all. There's really no innovation or customization. So with Tap This, we're using AI-driven innovations and services that's data-driven, member-focused. We're instilling a healthy money mindset and financial education within the app through the use. So the more you use it, the more you learn, because we're dripping micro hits of education through even little subconscious gamification within the daily use of the app. For example, let's say you have an influx of cash flow on a certain month. So it's June right now. So let's say in June, you got an extra $500 in cash flow. Your app is going to register that that's in addition to what's budgeted. It's going to text you and say, hey, congratulations, you've reached a new level. You've got an overage of $500. Would you like to put it towards goal A, B, or C? And if you do, here's how much quicker you'll reach those goals, or here's where we suggest based on your goals that you've set forth. And so you can make an educated decision, thus instilling, hopefully over time, subconsciously, a healthy money mindset for our members. So how are we solving it? We've gone over it a little bit, but AI-driven, personalized, automated cash flow management and scaling. AI will be used to track the trends in your revenue, your spending, your habits, and it will talk with your goals and your budget to help you figure out where your money should go, at what time, and how to scale it to your product market fit in the most feasible time frame for what you're trying to reach. All at one low cost, one tool in the palm of your hand, so it's on the move with you. We have a very clean dashboard that you'll see when you log in, so you have quick access to the information you need, and then a very easy story into whatever aspect of your finances you need to see as well, all from the palm of your hand. And white glove member support and the private education and mentorship within our private community as well. So really utilizing the fact that this is a personalized journey and that customized personal experience. So if you have a question, you're not going to a chat bot and trying to get an answer for your issue. You're going to our community, you're going to your account rep who can speak with you, who can walk you through that, who can answer questions. And our private community has already has some traction. We'll get to that, but we're already seeing real-time discussions on our community that allow our members to have that personalized touch that isn't in other apps these days. So
Lauren, one of the things we talked about when we were first dialoguing, and I thought it was exciting. I mean, if we take a round number, let's say $100,000 a year, that maybe a single mom is earning as a hairstylist, and there needs to be some plans there, maybe for college and things like that you can guide. And with that being said, you can leverage that where the average person that's not using a platform like Tap This is not going to maybe invest that money wisely. Can you just speak to that before you go on to the next slide? Because I think that's one of the critical variables of what you do here and how you help people.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we go to the feature slide, you'll see a little bit more into this. However, one of the cool things is that we're able to say, okay, with your personalized situation. So for example, a single mom who makes 6 figures a year, who maybe doesn't know to put money away, we have suggestions based on your income level, based on your personal situation. You answer a few questions, and it will suggest that you put a percentage and or X amount of dollars into certain areas that will then plan for the future. So whereas most people, especially in the beauty, health, and wellness space, it's quick money in, quick money out, cash in hand. So all of a sudden, ordering DoorDash for lunch or running out to grab something, that money comes in and out without knowing. Now we're saying, hey, we're tracking that. And we're going to show you that if you can put even $100 a month or even $50 a week or whatever the case is with your personalized, experience and situation, this is where you could be, saving for your kids, saving for retirement, buying a home. I had multiple friends who, God love them. They were very good and very creative, very good at their job and doing hair. But you would ask them, how much money do you make a year? And they'd say, oh, $50,000, $60,000 a year. But then you'd say, wait a minute, don't you make $4,000 or $5,000 a week still? And they're like, yeah, 4 or 5, sometimes 6. And, the math just doesn't add up. So being able to help that person to put the money aside for retirement, that is not something that in the beauty, health, and wellness space is, I guess, promoted or just instilled, right? If you go to a corporate job, part of your benefit package is that 401k and that putting that money aside. We don't have that as 1099 creatives. It's kind of whatever we decide to do with our money. So
Great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
Okay. So Tap This is like the Canva, but for your finances. So we're empowering creatives and solopreneurs to manage and grow their business, but in a smart way and a preparing for the future way. I've gone over my background, but again, I'm Lauren. My entrepreneurial journey started at 7, and I sold out my lemonade stand 3 days in a row at a PGA golf tournament. And ever since then, I was hooked. So, but I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, but when I really got out on my own, I was also a single mom, and that made me resilient, resourceful, persistent, and just really, really good at looking around me and kind of taking in information and realizing, kind of learning along the way from what I'm gathering, right? And I grew in my industry. I worked my way up. I became a national educator, a multi-6-figure stylist. I was able to support my child with a really good lifestyle, but there were still things missing. And then, like I said, I noticed the common problem throughout the industry and with other people I knew who were in that beauty, health, and wellness space, or just the creative space, the 1099 creative space. So Tap This was born. This is our lovely team. So within our team, we have over 50 years of experience in startup, specifically in product development, in business development, in HR, and in finance. So really strong team, very intentional about who we're hiring and what the job description is, so that we can all work within our strengths and cover each other's weaknesses. So very strong team, very intentional. The idea behind Tap This is designed to grow with our members. So our initial launch will be to support the solopreneur and the 1099 creative individual. But as we grow, we want to evolve with our members. So we're there then to, in the future, just to help support their team, help support their growth by adding to our features as well. And our list of features. So Tap This is more than just an app. It's a community and it's a platform to grow with everything in one space. So everything from scheduling that appointment to bringing in the dollar through our centralized payment processing solutions, centralized reporting, managing your clients, managing your inventory, managing your budgeting and your goal setting, and scaling your business, along with an interactive community that you can constantly be in touch with. So really staying relevant and next to our members, meeting them where they're at and growing with them. Traction-wise, we have been really working hard at building and nurturing our relationships. We've got a couple international relationships that we're growing that will be huge platforms for us to launch with. We were on a reality TV show for startup entrepreneurs and managed to stay on the leaderboard the entire time out of 79 businesses, which was awesome. We're growing our social media presence. We have over 2,000 on multiple platforms. Our email list is growing. Our private community is already over 1,250 and continuing to grow and active with discussion posts and live Q&As, and we're working on some workshops that they can attend that will be based around topics that will better them in business and as solopreneurs moving forward. So all in relation to what we're doing here. Our go-to-market strategy includes a couple different things here, online and offline. You can see we have traction in a couple different areas, as well as the other areas that we're intending to go into. So we're doing a mix of organic relationships, SEO searches, paid advertising, that type of thing, as well as working through social media and affiliates. Using influencers within our industry is a very large piece of the puzzle, because that is a very in your face, very big part of what our industry with beauty, health, and wellness, that's just where they convene, right? Offline, we do have press going out. We are attending conferences and events, and multiple partnerships, like I said, nationally and actually internationally, that are in the works that we're nurturing. The business solutions and software services opportunity is doing about $530 billion in the US alone right now. And the beauty, health, and wellness space alone is just under $100 billion of that. And at Tap This, through our marketing strategy, we are hoping to go after just under $5 billion over time. So we are looking at our projections over year 1 and 2, broken down through, again, our go-to-market strategy and just specific metrics that we want to meet. We're looking at about 13,000 members within our first year, 40,000 in our second, making sure that we're growing with the ability to keep our white glove customer service intact. So we're looking at about 20 million in revenue, up to 65 million in revenue in our second year, and continuing to grow from there. We are looking for $1 million to propel the development of the technology and bring our features to market, and that will give us a 16-month runway. And that broken down is 450,000 for the full development of our product, 350 will go for hiring, and about 200 into marketing, but that will be in correlation with our boots on the ground strategy and our partnerships that we're nurturing. So that 200, though a little lower on the monetary aspect, we have a lot of other factors that go into really making that 200 go a lot farther. So Tap This is the one tool that basically solopreneurs and 1099 entrepreneurs and creatives need to grow and manage their business and keep them in their right brain creative without missing a beat in their left brain business, right? So kind of balancing that and providing a tool that allows them to stay in their strengths and let us help them in their other side.
Great job, Lauren. Giving her a round of applause. Excellent job. That was a great presentation. Got a couple of things that I want to touch on.
Yeah.
First and foremost, fintech is been hot for like a decade. Okay. And let's rewind 10 years or so when not many people who knew who Zelle was. What's the other one? Square Cash.
Venmo.
There's a few of them out there. But now here's what I love about this platform is you can take someone in the beauty industry, which might have high level knowledge of their profession and low level knowledge of how to treat money, right? And it just is because what they were taught, right? Not a lot of what is taught in finance, in the finance world, is even taught in school, okay? Thank God at my kids' charter school, when they were going there first, they did things on entrepreneurship and balancing a checkbook and all that type of stuff, which is great, but not everybody comes into a profession knowing that. Here's what I love about this. You coordinate, integrate, aggregate all these different platforms that someone can receive a payment, right? It's tracking all of this, tracking what they paid in fees from a credit card, where your AI-based platform could say, hey, based on the rates that are coming out now, might be better if you take everything on PayPal right now because you're getting a better rate, or Venmo might, right? So that person can interchange with that as well, and they can get a bigger bang for their buck. I love that, as well as, hey, here's how close you're getting to your goal. So based on the things that you want to do, you actually don't have 100 grand sitting in cash. You have $72,000 sitting in cash. Okay. So all of that is so powerful Can you just speak to what it's like? You touched on it a little bit where someone was like, oh, I make 60 grand a year, but you were like, well, they're making 6 grand a month. So the math doesn't add up. Where's
Yes.
that other $12,000, right? So why don't you just speak to that a little bit of what it could look like with someone that doesn't use your platform versus someone that does, and then we'll wrap it up because I want investors to really understand the benefit of this.
Yeah, so this, I can speak from personal experience even, because that's where this really came from. I was taking payments through 4 or 5 different apps because, you know, our customers want to pay how they want to pay. So we're trying to be, you know, encompassing of everything that they want. And that meant I had 5 or 6 apps that I was using to take payments, 5 or 6 apps that some came with reporting, some didn't. Like Venmo, for example, I had to go through and reconcile it myself. And when it comes down to doing all of that, right? Like I found that through my reporting, a lot of what I was bringing in was not accounted for, or I had no idea where it went because it was coming in 5 different ways. It was leaving 75 different ways, and I wasn't able to keep a good handle on it. So then without using the app, I had a lot of money that was unaccounted for, wasn't tracked. I was obviously not saving as much as I could have been. And I was not making the smartest financial decisions. If I were to have had the app, I could take payment through Venmo, through PayPal, through Cash App, through Zelle, through credit cards, through memberships, subscriptions, all under one platform, get one centralized reporting. And then by using the AI to track the trends, the smart banking, which is part of our proprietary information, I could know that I made, you know, $180,000, but let's say I have, you know, let's say I have 180,000 in my bank, but 80,000 of it is allocated for my rainy day fund. I've got 3 different goals I'm saving for, and the next 3 months of my expenses equal out to all, let's say all of that equals 80,000. Well, then my actual real-time balance is only 100,000 that I have access to because the rest is allocated. And especially in the beauty industry. So you guys, the boys might not relate. I'll try to relate it to something for you guys, but for us, it was, we make a little extra money. We see a couple extra grand in the account. And it's like, oh, I can go buy that purse, right? Like that designer bag or shoes. For you guys, maybe it's like new golf clubs or something. That's expensive, right? Like, but
No, I can relate. Happy wife, happy life. So
there you go. But
one
it's, you know,
thing I don't like saying no to, I don't like saying no to my wife or my daughter.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. We would see that extra money and we'd say, oh, cool, I'm going to head over to Louis Vuitton and grab a bag or something like that. When in reality, if we had tapped this, we could see that that money actually was going towards a goal, and we were going to get there 3 months quicker, whether it was expanding, adding a new product line, honestly, even like a conference or a vacation, right? Those goals are set in there to let us know and helps us navigate a healthy money mindset, but also making really good, strong, like educated decisions in our finances that, 1, we haven't been trained on, 2, probably not the most fun thing to talk about, especially for a creative brain. You start talking to me about numbers and, you know, spreadsheets, and you just glaze over, and I'm like, but am I making enough money? So yeah, we're taking that part over and allowing our creatives to be in their right brain while not losing track of that left brain side.
I love how you pictured it as well in my brain, the Canva, but for finance. And
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. You're taking all these people, all these pieces for people, putting it into one place, and it becomes this one beautiful package. And how proud you must be to be able to take someone that was clueless about money. That's going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the first time in my life at the end of the year that I have money to, how about this, on maybe a somewhat negative side, you know, pay taxes. How many people are
Yep.
blindsided because they're 1099 and don't realize, oh, I might have to pay taxes on this money. And then they get blindsided by a $20,000 bill. You can show them how to do this. Here's what you're projected, and all the relationships that you can have with accountants and financial professionals. So I am so excited for this platform. Proud to be a part of it. Proud of you. Great job on presenting. Give her a round of applause, folks. Great job, Lauren. We're going to move on to Nathan DeYoung. Nathan, go ahead and turn your camera on so I can spotlight you. That'll be great.
All
Can-
right.
There
I
you
think I
go.
was already unmuted by accident. Good thing I have a quiet environment right now.
All right, right on. Good to see you, brother. How you been?
Good. How about you?
Doing great, doing great. I'm really excited for you to present you in this financial world as well, just like Lauren, who's bringing this to, the layperson in finance. You're bringing essentially a crowd-funded private equity space to the layperson as well. So this is a really exciting platform that you're building. Without further ado, help me welcome Nathan DeYoung and take it away. Nathan, you can go ahead and share it anytime.
Appreciate it, Izzy. So, I really like what Lauren's doing. She has a great platform, and I definitely think it's absolutely needed. So that's something that you're looking for in that space. I would strongly urge you to do it because I've been on that creative side before, and it's a tough go of things if you don't know where your money's going. And so I highly recommend getting in contact with her. But in terms of what we're doing, we're in a similar situation where people want to put their money in places, but they don't know how to get access to it. When you look at the space of private equity, there's a lot of opportunity there, but most people really don't have access to it. And if they do, oftentimes they're borrowing against a 401k or doing something that is a much higher risk than they may feel comfortable with. And so what we're trying to do is to help level that playing field and allow people to invest in private businesses without taking on all that risk of having to cash out their 401k to buy a business, or having to work with an individual that just doesn't understand how to invest their money or where to invest their money when it comes to looking at a profitable business. And so what problem are we solving here? If you look at the private equity industry here, there's probably about 95% of people that aren't in that high net worth category don't even have access to those outcomes. And really what that prevents is someone from getting access to lucrative deals. In the US alone, the private equity market was valued at about $594 billion in 2021. And we all know that that's only going to go up. If you look at any of the recent transactions or mergers, you hear all these crazy numbers. I just read a stat today where Squarespace just is in the process of acquiring a technology from Google for $180 million. And who gets to see that cash? Not me. I would certainly like to get 1% of that deal. And so that's really what we're solving for, is allowing people to get access to those type of deals. And how are we doing it? We're allowing people to invest in shares of those businesses. So as they grow and profit, the individuals profit as well. As when the business is sold or acquired or merged, there's money to be made there, and the individuals that have shares of the businesses that we've acquired would benefit from that as well. And our market size, our target is investors that are seeking alternative investment vehicles. This is not a substitute for a 401k. It's not a substitute for someone that is working in the stock market or anything like that. This is an opportunity for somebody to diversify where their investments live. If you look at all the different opportunities out there for investing, there's so many different opportunities. I'll list a few here in a minute, as potentially some of our competitors, but people in today's age are investing smarter. They're investing in ways that just weren't even around a year ago, let alone, 5 years ago. So, people are finding different opportunities to invest their hard-earned money that they didn't have access to before. In terms of our individuals that would potentially be a good fit, this number is based on a sum of platforms that already have alternative investors. They would be our target audience. So that's where this 31 million came from. These are actual users that are already investing in alternative markets. Acquisitions, strategic partnerships. We're really going to be focusing a lot on the podcasts and a lot of those partnerships of blogs and different things where people go to get their information. Like, for example, Motley Fool is a great source of people that are staying in tune with the markets and market trends. And so there's certainly a type of partnership that we would develop to acquire our customers. A little bit about our process, and keep this pretty simple. There's a lot to unpack here, so we won't go through all of the detail in this presentation, but what we'll be doing is essentially we'll be starting with the acquisition of a business, and from there we'll use a lot of our specialized proprietary information and methodology to manage those businesses. And from that is where it gets converted into investable shares. And that's where, once those shares start to produce, whether that's monthly profit or yearly profit or the acquisition or sale of a business, that's where the profit would be generated. And from after we acquire a business and start generating profit, we'll be using different key metrics to help monetize and increase that profitability. A little bit about some potential competition here. Currently, there is no company that is doing investing in this way. There's plenty of companies that are focused on real estate as an investment or alternative investments. If you look at GoX there, they're focused on scooters as a investment crowdfunding, where you can invest about 10 grand. I think the minimum there is about 10 grand. Pretty high returns, actually. It's about a 1.5x on your return. So if you invest 10 grand, you'll get 15 grand back in a year's time. So very lucrative. There's a number of different crowdfunding platforms like this, as well as AgriTrader, where they're focusing on farmland instead. But the problem with those is the high entry. Most people don't have 10 grand sitting around that they can invest in scooters, or 25 grand on AgriTrader, where you can invest in a piece of farmland. So the barrier to entry is much higher on a lot of these. Fundrise is one of the lowest ones. You can invest as low as $10. But in terms of the type of asset, it's real estate. So it doesn't focus on businesses like we're trying to focus. A little bit about myself. I've actually been in previous startup leadership roles, helped a company get a multi-million-dollar valuation. It's still private to this day, but help them build out their entire platform and take them from where they were. They had barely one customer when I had started with them. Started with an office of 3 people, grew the office to about 25 people, and they acquired over the course of that period, I think it was about 10 different large customers, which equated to multiple millions of dollars in revenue per year. And I've also managed multiple projects equaling several million dollars over the years. Been in multiple different industries, and been in technology for over 15 years now at this point. So quite a bit of experience in technology and different deal flow and startups and what have you. A little bit about our team. Won't go into each specific detail. We are proactively looking to always fill out our team with additional individuals. So we're always looking for the right people to finish out our team. But currently we have Izzy on our team, which if you know a little bit about him, it kind of speaks for itself there. Additionally, we have Gad Perdomo, who's helped bring a bunch of different products to market. He's had a lot of experience in placing products on shelves and helping make sure that they're marketed correctly so that the box is actually what the product says. So he's played a key role in helping making sure that the products actually get purchased and that they make sense. Yeah, so he's had a huge role in that. And then Anil, he's done so many different things. I've lost count of how many different variety of things he's done over the years, but a lot of his background has been in private equity and M&As and asset management. He's also done owned a hotel chain himself, and also sold and helped companies acquire and do deals in the hotel industry. And another individual that we have as a AR partner of ours, he actually developed an AI that will allow us to speed up our deployment process. He has a framework that already exists that we would be able to acquire, and that would allow us to speed up our deployment time of being able to monetize these businesses and these acquisitions with AI. A little bit about our funds here. If you look at that deal flow here, that return is pretty significant in a 5-year period, and this would be under the assumption that in a 5-year period we would have some sales of businesses. If you look at year 5, our cash flow significantly jumps. The month over month we would start to see returns. This is specific to our direct investors, not our crowdfunding individuals that would be investing in the businesses. So this deal flow is specific to people that would be investing into Asset Fund as the corporate entity, not into the crowdfunding portion of this. Just make sure I'm clear about that. But the real return is at year 5, when we start to see the sale of these businesses after we really help them to increase their cash flow there. And we're currently seeking over the next 2 years $5 million in aggregate, and to kind of get the ball rolling here. We're currently looking for a $1 million convertible bridge debenture that would help us get our platform off the ground, acquire some businesses, and help us do our SEC filings. Those are not cheap. To accept funds, you need to be regulated, and so that's what a good portion of that money would go towards, is acquiring those specific licenses for being an actual investing platform. So that's all for me, Izzy. And that's it. I think you're on mute, Izzy.
Oh, sorry about that. Excellent job.
Thank you.
Great job with that. So a couple of questions before you jump on there. So looking at what's available today, what I love about your platform is when you see the stock market and how on one side it can capitulate and drive the price down, and then you look at other things like Reddit with GameStop, and it can be inflated without any merit, right? So there's a lot of good business basis for the investments that people can make and see true growth in equity on a project. Can you just touch on that a little bit before we go to our next presenter?
Sure. I think GameStop is a very relevant thing that I'll phrase it like this. If you've ever watched the stock market in any way, you'll notice over the years that the stock market is, I use this term loosely, rigged. It's not based on a company's actual performance. GameStop, for example, the price jumped so high, and the reason that happened was because social campaigns, and that's what that experiment was all about. We saw that people cashed out on money that just, for all intents and purposes, never really existed in the first place. There was no merit to GameStop's, sudden rocket in stock. It was all based on people, pushing that stock up by a social medium. There was no, acquisition going on there. There was no real basis that would cause that stock to become something that, was worth what it was actually worth. And if you look at the stock now, it's, back to where it should have been, and that's really what doesn't happen in the private equity market. A business is valued for what it can produce. And that's one of the biggest things about our platform is you're getting what you pay for. A business is going to be producing, is going to be worth what it's able to produce. And that's the real major difference here, is that it's not based on, a social value, so to speak. It's based on hard facts. If the company's making, $10,000 a month, that company is worth, $250,000, $300,000 for an acquisition. And if you take it to 15 grand a month, that company has then increased its business by about 100 grand. So, that true value of a business producing is really what we're focusing on, and what is really going to bear relevance for us being successful.
That's really exciting, because when you look at, what's happening, in the market today, it's look at this, the S&P 500 is little change, yet it heads for the best week since March. Okay. The market's flat right now on a Friday. Folks, just in my experience and looking at some of the ups and downs of the market over the last few months, I think the selling off is likely done, potentially. I don't know. But you see a market like this where you're not having people unload positions that they don't want to hold overnight. They're not, there's no short covering and a false influx of buying a position. If you understand shorts, when you short stock, you sell it for it, buy it, right? So there's none of that. It's relatively flat and sort of like, are you going to buy? No, I don't know. You buy. No, I'm going to sell. No, are you going to sell? No, I'm not selling. So everyone's just sort of waiting and seeing what's happening. But in these private sectors where you're going to have a platform for that, Nate, and for everyone that's presenting here, these are remarkable opportunities for investors to say, you know what? I'm not going to see a GameStop situation with Nate's company. I'm not going to see that with Mary's company or anybody else. You're not going to have people that are just inflating things and going to message boards and whatever they use to communicate information on Reddit and everything else and say, hey, let's really stick it to all these people. No, that's not going to happen with these. And that's what I love about your platform is it's more of a true capitalism versus what you were saying loosely as it seems rigged. I think they're just players that know the rules and the technology and everything else to make things go upside down or sideways. But congratulations on what I think you're going to be able to help a lot of people in the long term that are not educated on the technicals of investing. But great job with this, man. I'm proud to be a part of the project. Give Nate a round of applause, and we're going to bring up our next presenter. We'll talk to you soon, Nate. Have a great weekend.
Appreciate it.
So Faraz Nawaz, could you please turn on your video so I can spotlight you here? There we go. You're unmuted. Go ahead and let me go ahead and spotlight you as well.
Hi,
There he is. So Faraz, can you hear me okay?
yes, I can. How about?
Great to connect with you on here. Folks, so Faraz is a great collaborative partner in the California area, Bay Area. Has a background in deep tech, working with J&J, and you've had some remarkable success with some funds that you've started up, which we're collaborating on with bringing LPs on. And yet, you identified a company where you're raising some capital for, in the AI space and robotics. And I think this is one of the most exciting spaces. I mean, you saw a lot of private equity and private placements fall up this year, yet in robotics and AI, man, there's a lot of money going into that. Can you explain why? I mean, you've got a deep background in this, and that'll help overlap your background and expertise and why you think this investment is remarkable.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Susie. It's great to speak to the team again. So I think we've been part of this fund for a while now, and the specific company you're talking about, Figure, is basically part of the Fund 3. So we've had pretty good success with Fund 1 and Fund 2. And Figure is basically positioned as a co-investment opportunity as part of Fund 3, mainly because we have led a $70 million round in this company, who initially bootstrapped their initial seed round. And now to your question specifically as to why the timing is great when you think of AI robotics, and I'm being very specific, AI and robotics, right? There have been robotics, companies out there. Figure is really positioned to disrupt the human and manual labor space. And why is it really a good time now? One is because of the convergence of three interesting technologies in this space. One is the battery and motor, basically powertrain technologies, which is primarily driven by the EV manufacturers. Number two is the autonomous vehicle systems, which is, we all have heard of it. There has been tremendous progress in this technology over the years. And finally, it's the GPU compute and to a certain extent, storage tech. And we all hear about NVIDIA and what the shortage is with GPUs and all of that. But ultimately, it's the convergence of both, the EV manufacturing technologies, if you will, the autonomous vehicle tech, as well as compute, right? Enabling AI in general, but in this case, AI-based robotics in general. So I think that is where, a handful of players will potentially see tremendous adoption in the future.
I think it's remarkable because of the need. I think about even what's going on today, the need for human capital, and it's so hard. The old expression, it's so hard to find good help. Well, AI and robotics and that whole industry, it circumvents those issues, right? And when you think about the Teslas of the world that are working on, secretive robotics and AI and what they're building, this is going to be explosive in the future. It's like we're living in those movies that we saw in the past about the future. But without further ado, I want you to just jump into, I don't know if you're going to be presenting some slides here, Safraz, but just what you're going to be investing into and the potential for fund-to-fund investments with LPs. But it's an exciting time right now because I think over the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to see more and more of these robotics companies coming onto the scene, but you're certainly involved with one of the major players there. So excited about that.
Yeah, thank you, Izzy. So let me quickly go through, and I've covered this in prior talks, I would say, a little bit about sort of the fund background, very, very briefly, and then talk about Figure, which I touched upon a little bit now. First of all, what Izzy was suggesting, we're basically a deep tech fund who are looking at the intersection of some of these core technologies here, from obviously AI, and we've been focused on AI for a while now, different aspects of it. I mean, that's where you have optimization and simulation. At J&J, I'm focused on supply chain transformation, digital transformation. So these are interesting